December 11th, 1944, evening. Observation post near Aue, Germany. My name is Thomas Brennan, Staff Sergeant 285th Field Artillery Observation Battalion. Everyone calls me Tommy. I'm 24 years old, from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I'm starting this diary tonight because I finally have time to write, and because my mother made me promise I would. She gave me this notebook before I shipped out, said it would help me remember the good parts when I'm old. I told her there wouldn't be any bad parts to forget. We both knew I was lying. We took over this position this morning from the 2nd Infantry Division. They'd been holding this sector for weeks, seemed glad to leave. One of their sergeants, older guy with a 1,000-yard stare, he watched us unpack our gear and just shook his head. "You boys better dig deep," he said. "This place ain't as quiet as they tell you." Our observation post is built into the side of a ridge they call the Schnee Eifel, means snow mountains in German. It's really just a forested hill, but from up here, I can see for miles. The Aue River Valley stretches out below us, little German villages with their church steeples, farmland all frozen and dead-looking. Somewhere out there past the tree line are the German positions. Can't see much movement during the day. At night, sometimes I think I see lights, but Davies says I'm imagining things. Davies is my radio operator, Corporal Bill Davies from Chicago. He's got this way of making everything into a joke, even when you can tell he's scared. Been in the army 2 years, same as me, but he acts like he knows everything. Maybe he does. He keeps the SCR 610 radio working, and that's what matters. Without that radio, we're just 4 guys on a hill with binoculars. Then there's Kowalski, Private First Class Eddie Kowalski, our wireman, kid from Detroit, maybe 20 years old. Quiet, barely says 10 words a day. But he can string telephone wire faster than anyone I've ever seen, and he keeps our lines working even when the shells are falling. That's worth more than conversation. Rodriguez is our 4th man, PFC Miguel Rodriguez from San Antonio. Assistant observer, which means he does whatever I tell him to do, plus he's learning the job in case something happens to me. He's got this way of praying in Spanish when he thinks nobody's listening. Quietly, just moving his lips. I don't mind. Figure we can use all the help we can get. The 4 of us live in this bunker. It's maybe 8 feet by 10 feet, dug into the hillside with logs for a roof and sandbags piled on top. There's a firing slit looking out over the valley where I set up the BC scope. That's the battery commander's telescope. Big 20-power optic that lets me spot targets for the artillery. We've got a wood stove that smokes too much, 4 cots that sag in the middle, and about 1,000 sandbags that never seem like enough. My job is to be the eyes for the 589th Field Artillery Battalion. They're sitting back there about 4 miles behind us with their 105mm howitzers, and they can't see what I can see. When I spot a target, German troops, vehicles, gun positions, I call in the coordinates and they send the shells. It's mathematical, precise. Grid coordinates, deflection, quadrant elevation. I calculate where the target is, tell them where to aim, and 6 or 7 seconds later, high explosive rounds are landing exactly where I told them to land. I was a surveyor's assistant before the war, worked for Pennsylvania Railroad, measuring grades and distances, making sure the tracks went where they were supposed to go. Turns out, those skills transfer pretty well to artillery. I'm good with maps, good with numbers. The Army figured that out pretty quick at Fort Sill. We're attached to the 106th Infantry Division. The Golden Lions, they call themselves. We just got to Europe 3 weeks ago. The whole division is green. Nobody's fired a shot in combat. They put us in this sector because it's supposed to be quiet. The Ardennes. Nothing ever happens here. That's what they told us. The Germans are beaten. They're pulling back everywhere. This is practically occupation duty. The 106th took over from the 2nd Division, who'd earned a rest. We're holding a 27-mile front with 1 division. That sounds like a lot even to me, and I don't know much about tactics. But the officers say don't worry, it's a quiet sector. Nothing to worry about. The 2nd Division guys didn't look like men who'd been in a quiet sector. They looked tired, old, and they couldn't leave fast enough. Tonight is cold, maybe 20 degrees. Clear sky, no moon yet. I can see my breath inside the bunker even with the stove going. The ground is frozen solid. There are patches of snow in the low spots, dirty gray from the coal dust that drifts over from the German industrial areas to the east. It's quiet. That's what strikes me most. No artillery fire tonight. No gunfire. Just the wind moving through the bare trees and the occasional sound of a truck engine somewhere far away. Davies is playing solitaire by candlelight. Kowalski is checking the phone lines, running his hands along the wire where it comes into the bunker, looking for breaks. Rodriguez is reading a letter from home. I can see him smiling at something. I wonder what my brother Michael is doing right now. He's somewhere in the Pacific with the Marines. Tarawa, Saipan, one of those islands I can't pronounce. We haven't heard from him in 6 weeks. Mom writes to me about it, trying not to sound worried, but I can read between the lines. My other brother James is still home, working at the mine with Dad. 4F because of the polio he had when he was 12. He walks fine now, just a little limp, but the army didn't want him. I think it bothers him more than he lets on. Dad's a coal miner, 42 years old, and he's been underground since he was 16. Black lung is starting to get him. You can hear it in his breathing when he comes home from shift. He wanted me to learn a trade, something above ground. That's why he was proud when I got the surveying job with the railroad. Good money, clean work, future in it. Now I'm on a hill in Germany, watching the enemy through a telescope, calculating trajectories for artillery shells. Mom teaches at St. Mary's Elementary, 3rd grade. She writes me every week, tells me about her students, about the war bond drives, about how Mrs. Kowalczyk down the street just heard her son was killed in Italy. She always ends her letters the same way. Come home safe to us, Tommy. We love you and pray for you every single day. I wrote her last week, told her we were going to a quiet sector, told her not to worry. I meant it. I believed it. That 2nd Division sergeant's face keeps coming back to me. The way he looked at us, like we were dead men already. Dig deep, he said. The coffee's getting cold. Sea ration coffee tastes like it was made from motor oil and dirt, but it's hot and it's caffeine, and that's what matters. I should try to sleep. Got first watch at 0400 hours. Davies just lost at solitaire again. He's swearing quietly, gathering up the cards. Tomorrow's my lucky day, he says. I can feel it. I hope he's right. Entry 2. December 12th, 1944, morning, same position, slept maybe 3 hours. The cold kept waking me up, that and the sound of Rodriguez grinding his teeth in his sleep. Davies snores like a chainsaw. Kowalski doesn't make a sound, just lies there like he's dead until you shake him awake. First light came around 0730 hours. Gray dawn, overcast, temperature maybe 18 degrees. My feet are already numb and it's not even noon yet. We spent the morning running registration missions. That's where we fire a few rounds at reference points so we know exactly where the shells will land. You pick a spot, crossroads, tree line, building, and you calculate the coordinates. Then the battery fires one round and you see where it hits. If it's off, you make corrections. Left 50 meters, right 20, add 100. You walk the fire in until it's perfect, and then you record those coordinates so that when you need to hit that spot for real, you already know exactly how. It's mathematical, precise. I find it calming, actually. There are no opinions in mathematics, no uncertainty. You measure the distance using the mil scale on the BC scope. You calculate the azimuth with the compass. You add the deflection, figure the quadrant elevation based on range and ammunition type. You call it in and the rounds land where you said they would. Numbers don't lie. We registered 4 reference points this morning. A stone barn about 3,000 meters out, a road junction at 4,500 meters, the church steeple in a village called Kopscheid at 6,000 meters, and a section of forest where we think there might be German positions at 4,800 meters. The battery has 105mm howitzers, M2A1, standard light artillery. Maximum range about 11,000 meters, but you want to keep it under 9,000 for accuracy. High explosive shells, shows each one weighing about 33 pounds. When they hit, they make a crater about 4 feet wide and throw shrapnel out to 50 meters. I've seen what they do to trucks, buildings. Haven't seen what they do to people yet. I try not to think about that part. After registration, I wrote a letter home. Tried to, anyway. You'd think it would be easy. Dear Mom, I'm fine. Hope you're well. Love, Tommy. But I sat there staring at the paper for 20 minutes and couldn't figure out what to say. Can't tell her we're on the front line. Can't tell her I'm in Germany. Calling in artillery fire on enemy positions. Can't tell her I'm scared. Can't tell her that 2nd Division Sergeant looked at me like I was already dead. So I wrote about the weather, about Davies and his terrible jokes, about how the food isn't as bad as I expected, which is a lie, but it's what she wants to hear. I told her I think of her and Dad and James every day. That part's true. I told her to give my love to everyone on the block. I asked about Michael, even though I know she won't have news. I signed it Your Loving Son, and folded it up and gave it to the company runner who came by with mail and supplies. She'll get it in maybe 2 weeks if we're lucky. It'll make her feel better for a few days. That's worth the lie. Rodriguez got a letter from his girl. Her name is Maria, and from the way he talks about her, she's the most beautiful woman who ever lived. They were supposed to get married last summer, but then he got drafted. He carries her picture in his helmet, tucked into the webbing, shows it to anyone who'll look. Dark hair, pretty smile, standing in front of a church in a white dress. Soon as this war's over, Rodriguez says, I'm going back to San Antonio and I'm marrying that girl. I don't care if I have to hitchhike from Germany to Texas. I'm marrying her. Davies says, You better hope she waits for you, Rodriguez. Girls get lonely. Rodriguez crosses himself. Don't say that, man. Don't even joke. I think about the girl I was seeing before I shipped out, Sarah Mitchell. We went to high school together, started courting my senior year. Pretty girl. Red hair, freckles, laugh like music. We talked about getting married someday, but she stopped writing after I'd been in basic training for 4 months. Just stopped. No Dear John letter, no explanation. The letters just stopped coming. I heard from a buddy that she's seeing a guy who works at the steel mill. War work, so he won't get drafted. Smart, I guess. Can't blame her. Why wait for someone who might never come back when you can have someone who's right there? I don't think about her much anymore. But Rodriguez and his Maria. Watching him read that letter over and over, smiling at parts, whispering to himself in Spanish, it brings it back. The German lines are maybe 2,000 meters away. Sometimes I can see movement through the scope. Little figures moving between buildings, trucks on the roads. Looks almost peaceful from this distance. Like watching ants. Davies says, You ever think about the fact that right now, some German forward observer is probably looking at us through his scope, thinking the same thing we're thinking? I hadn't thought about it. Don't want to think about it now. Kowalski came back from checking the phone lines this afternoon. Said there's more German activity on the roads than he'd expect for a quiet sector. Trucks mostly. Some tracked vehicles, couldn't tell what kind, moving at night with no lights, which is why we don't see them during the day. I reported it to the battalion S2, that's intelligence. They said not to worry. Germans are probably moving supplies. Normal traffic, nothing to be concerned about. The Ardennes is quiet, beaten enemy, nothing to worry about. But I keep thinking about those 2nd Division guys, the way they looked at us, the way they couldn't get out of here fast enough. I spent the afternoon studying the map. We're on something called the Schnee-Eifel Ridge, which sticks out into German territory like a thumb. It's a salient, which is a fancy word for exposed position. If the Germans wanted to cut us off, they'd only need to push from both sides and we'd be surrounded. It's like we're sitting in a pocket. I asked our lieutenant about it when he came by. He's 22 years old, fresh out of officer training, doesn't know any more than I do, but he's got the goal bar, so he's in charge. He said the position is fine, defensible, good observation, nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. That's what everyone keeps saying. For dinner, we heated up sea rations. Hash and potatoes from a can. Tastes like salted cardboard, but it's hot and it's food. Davies made coffee, which is generous to call it coffee. It's hot brown water that happens to have caffeine in it, but we drink it anyway. Rodriguez is praying again. Quiet, lips moving. I can see him touching the rosary he keeps in his pocket. His mother gave it to him, he says. Blessed by their priest back in San Antonio. He says it keeps him safe. I hope he's right. The sun's going down now. Temperature's dropping. Going to be another cold night. I've got middle watch 0200 to 0400 hours. That's the worst shift. Too late to sleep before, too early to sleep after. You just sit there in the dark, watching the valley, listening to every sound, trying to stay awake. I brought a book with me from home, Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman. My mother gave it to me when I graduated high school. She said Whitman understood America, understood what it means to be human. I didn't get it then, still not sure I do. But there's something about his words that makes me feel less alone. I am the man, I suffered, I was there. Yeah, Walt, I'm here too. Entry 3, December 13th, 1944, evening. Same position. My hands are still shaking. It's been 3 hours and they won't stop. We had contact today. First time I've called in fire on live targets. First time I've killed people. It happened around 1400 hours. I was scanning the valley with the BC scope, routine observation, when I spotted movement along a tree line about 3,500 meters out. Maybe a dozen men, gray-green uniforms, moving in a column. German patrol, no doubt about it. My throat went dry. This is what I'm trained for, what I'm here for. But suddenly all the mathematics and procedures just fell out of my head. Davies saw my face. You got something, Sarge? German patrol, grid coordinates? My mind was blank. Completely blank. I couldn't remember how to read the map. Tommy. Davies' voice was calm. Take a breath, look at the map, find the coordinates. And just like that it came back. The training, measure, calculate, report. Grid coordinates 514387, azimuth 275 degrees, range 3,500 meters. Enemy patrol, approximately 12 men, moving north along tree line. Davies got on the radio. Fire Direction Center, this is Oscar Papa 1, fire mission. Enemy patrol in the open. Grid coordinates 514387. Over. The FDC came back almost immediately. Oscar Papa 1, roger. Battery 3 rounds. Stand by. 30 seconds later. Shot over. Shot out, Davies replied. That's the call that tells us the rounds are in the air. Time of flight for 3,500 meters is maybe 7 or 8 seconds. I kept the scope on target. The world slowed down. I could hear my heartbeat. The men in the valley kept walking, no idea what was coming. One of them was smoking. I could see the cigarette, just a tiny bright dot at this range. Then the valley erupted. 3 rounds, high explosive, landing almost on top of the patrol. Trees splintered, dirt geysered up, smoke and fire. When it cleared, I could see bodies. Most of the men were down. A couple were trying to crawl. One was running, stumbling. I could almost hear the screaming, even though we were too far away for sound to carry. Good effect on target, I said. My voice sounded like it was coming from someone else. Repeat fire. Roger, shot. 7 more seconds, 3 more rounds, more explosions, more smoke. When it cleared the second time, nothing was moving. Mission complete, I said. Target destroyed. Davies looked at me, looked at the target area, looked back at me. He didn't say anything. We sat there in silence for maybe 5 minutes. Then Davies pulled out his pack of Lucky Strikes, lit one, took a long drag. Welcome to the club, Sarge, he said quietly. My hands started shaking then, just trembling like I had palsy. I tried to stop them but couldn't. I put the binoculars down because I was afraid I'd drop them. Rodriguez crossed himself, kept crossing himself. Over and over. Kowalski said, Jesus Christ. Just that, over and over. Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ. I went outside and threw up, twice. Couldn't help it. My stomach just revolted. When I came back inside, Davies handed me a canteen, water. I drank it. Still tasted like vomit. You did good, Davies said. That's the job. That's what we're here for. I know that. I know that's the job. I calculated the coordinates, and I called them in, and the shells landed exactly where I told them to land, and 12 men died. Maybe 15. I don't know. I didn't count the bodies. They were trying to kill us. That's what I keep telling myself. They were the enemy, German soldiers. They would have killed us if they'd had the chance. This is war. This is what war is. But I keep seeing that one man running, stumbling, trying to get away from the killing zone. And I called in the second volley knowing he was there. The mathematics don't care. You calculate the coordinates and the shells land where you tell them to land, and the math doesn't care who dies. I was a surveyor. I measured distances, made sure the tracks were laid straight. numbers on paper. Now the numbers mean death. I say 514387, and somewhere 6 miles away, a gun crew loads a shell and pulls a lanyard, and 7 seconds later men are torn apart. My hands are still shaking. Davies is trying to act normal, playing cards, making jokes, but they're not landing right. He keeps glancing at me. Rodriguez hasn't stopped praying. The rosary is out now, beads moving through his fingers. Santa Maria, Madre de Dios, ruega por nosotros pecadores. Over and over. Kowalski went outside. I heard him crying, trying to hide it, but I heard. We're supposed to feel good about this. We engaged the enemy. We destroyed a German patrol. We did our job. The lieutenant came by and congratulated us. Said we probably saved American lives by taking out that patrol before they could spot our positions and report back. Maybe he's right, but I can't get the image out of my head. That man running, the second volley landing, the smoke clearing and nothing moving. I keep thinking about their families. Do they have wives, kids, mothers who'll get a letter saying their son isn't coming home? Are there German mothers who will receive a telegram the way Mrs. Kowalczyk down the street from us received hers about her boy killed in Italy? This is war. I knew that. I trained for this. But knowing it and doing it are different things. I tried to read Whitman tonight. Couldn't focus. The words just swam on the page. Davies came over, sat next to me, didn't say anything for a long time. Then, first time's the hardest. It doesn't get easier exactly, but you get used to it. You have to. How many times for you? I asked. This is my first too, he said. But that's what the veteran guys told me. You get used to it. I don't want to get used to it, but I don't have a choice. That's the job. That's what we're here for. My hands are still shaking. I don't know if they'll ever stop. Entry 4, December 14th, 1944, night, same position. It's quiet tonight. Too quiet. I've been watching the valley for 6 hours and I haven't seen anything. No campfires, no vehicle lights, no movement at all. Just darkness and the sound of wind through the trees. That's wrong. There's always something. Even in a quiet sector, you see campfires, cooking fires, lights from vehicles. The Germans have to eat. They have to move supplies. But tonight, nothing. I can hear things, though. Distant rumbling, like thunder, but the sky is clear. Engine sounds, lots of them. Heavy vehicles, moving on roads we can't see from here. It's been going on since dusk. Kowalski heard it too. Came back from checking the lines and said, "That's a lot of traffic for a quiet sector." I reported it to Battalion S2 again. Traffic sounds, no visual contact, possible vehicle movement in German rear areas. They told me the same thing they told me yesterday. Normal supply movements, nothing to be concerned about. The Germans are beaten. They're pulling back. We're in a quiet sector. I'm not an intelligence officer. I'm not a tactician. I'm a 24-year-old kid from Scranton who used to measure railroad grades. What do I know about German movements? But something feels wrong. Davies is asleep, snoring away like he doesn't have a care in the world. I envy that. Wish I could sleep like that. Rodriguez is on watch with me. He's at the observation slit with the binoculars, scanning left to right, methodical. Every few minutes he crosses himself. I notice he's doing it more often lately. "You worried about something?" I asked him. He didn't look away from the binoculars. "My mama, she has dreams sometimes. Dreams that come true. She dreamed about my cousin Hector 2 days before we got the telegram saying he was killed at Anzio. She called my aunt, told her to pray for Hector. 2 days later, the telegram. What's that got to do with now? She wrote me a letter, got it yesterday. She said she had a dream about me. Said she saw snow and trees and I was calling out to her but she couldn't hear me. She said she woke up crying, told me to be careful, to pray." He crossed himself again. "My mama's dreams, they mean something. Rodriguez, I know how it sounds, Sarge, but I'm telling you, when my mama has a dream like that, something bad is coming. I don't believe in prophetic dreams, but I'd be lying if I said it didn't send a chill down my spine." The wind picked up around 2300 hours. Temperature dropped. My breath is freezing in the air. I can see ice forming on the inside of the observation slit. I tried to read Whitman again, found a passage I'd marked before I shipped out. "I am the man I suffered, I was there." He wrote that about the Civil War, watching wounded soldiers, dying men. He saw terrible things, but he also wrote about hope, about the human spirit enduring. I do not ask the wounded person how he feels. I myself become the wounded person. I understand that now in a way I didn't before. When I called in that fire mission yesterday, when I watched those men die, a part of me died with them. Or maybe a part of me was born. The part that understands you can't calculate death without carrying it with you. The mathematics are the same. The coordinates don't change. But I'm different now. I keep wondering about that German patrol. Were they reconnaissance? Were they going somewhere specific? Or just routine patrol? Did they have families waiting for them? Did they have guys like Davies back at their base, making jokes, playing cards? We're not supposed to think about that. They're the enemy. They're trying to kill us. If we don't kill them first, they'll kill us. That's war. That's the simple truth of it. But simple truths are hard to believe at 3 a.m. when you're cold and tired and you keep seeing a man running, trying to escape the fire you called down on him. I reported the sounds again at 0100 hours. Heavy vehicles, multiple engines, continuous traffic, request permission to call illumination rounds so we can see what's moving out there. Battalion said no. Don't waste ammunition on speculation. Maintain observation. Report anything visual. But I can't see anything. That's the problem. Whatever's moving out there is staying hidden. Rodriguez is praying again. Dios te salve Maria, llena eres de gracia. The temperature gauge outside reads 12 degrees Fahrenheit. Going to be a cold night. Going to be a cold morning. I should try to sleep. Got to be sharp. Got to be ready. But every time I close my eyes, I see that valley erupting. See the bodies. See the man running. Davies says you get used to it. I hope he's wrong. I hope I never get used to it. The day I get used to killing is the day I stop being human. But I also hope he's right, because I don't know how long I can carry this and still do my job. The wind is howling now. Temperature still dropping. Rodriguez pulled his collar up, hunched his shoulders. Gonna be a cold one, he said. Yeah. Sarge? Yeah? You ever get the feeling something bad is coming? I looked out at the dark valley, listened to the distant rumble of engines, thought about the 2nd Division sergeant and his warning, thought about Rodriguez's mother's dream. Yeah, I said, I do. We sat there in silence for a long time, watching, waiting, nothing to worry about, they say. Quiet sector, they say. But the valley is too quiet, and the sounds in the distance are too loud. And something in my gut is telling me that we're about to find out just how wrong headquarters can be. I pulled out my notebook, started writing this entry by candlelight. Rodriguez saw me. What are you writing, Sarge? Just thoughts, things I don't want to forget. You think we're going to be okay? I thought about lying to him, thought about saying, sure, we'll be fine, nothing to worry about, but I didn't. I don't know, Rodriguez, I really don't know. He nodded, crossed himself again, went back to watching the darkness. The candle is burning low, should save it. But I wanted to get this down, wanted to remember what it felt like, this moment before. Whatever comes next, I'll never be this person again. The person who hasn't lived through it yet. The engines are still rumbling in the distance. The valley is still too quiet. And somewhere out there in the darkness, something is coming. I can feel it. Entry 5, December 16th, 1944, 0530 hours. Under fire. The world is ending. I don't know how else to describe it. 0530 this morning, still dark. I was on watch. Rodriguez was asleep. Davies and Kowalski were snoring. I was scanning the valley with the starlight scope, seeing nothing, hearing those engine sounds still rumbling in the distance. Then the horizon lit up. Not like dawn, like the earth splitting open and hell pouring out. Hundreds of gun flashes. Thousands. Orange and red light all along the German lines, far as I could see in both directions. And the sound, God, the sound. Not individual explosions. Just one continuous roar, like standing next to a freight train that's screaming past, except the train is the size of the sky, and it's all around you, and it won't stop. I yelled for everyone to wake up. Rodriguez was already awake, sitting bolt upright on his cot, eyes wide. Davies rolled off his bunk. Kowalski was grabbing for his helmet. Then the shells started landing. Our position started shaking, dirt raining down from the ceiling, the logs creaking. I thought the whole bunker was going to collapse on us. Get on the radio, I yelled at Davies. Tell battalion. We're under major artillery barrage. Davies already had the handset. All stations this is Oscar Papa 1. We are under heavy artillery fire. German offensive in progress. Over. The radio was chaos. Every station on the net was trying to report at once. Voices talking over each other, some screaming. One radio went dead mid-transmission. The barrage lasted 90 minutes. 90 minutes of the earth trying to kill us. We huddled in that bunker while shells landed all around us. One hit maybe 50 meters away, close enough that the concussion knocked Rodriguez off his cot. Kowalski was praying. Davies was trying to maintain contact with battalion, but the radio kept cutting out. I was holding on to the center post, watching the ceiling, waiting for it to come down. Rodriguez was crying, no shame in it. I wanted to cry too. I was grinding my teeth so hard my jaw hurts now, hours later. When it finally stopped, the silence was almost worse than the noise. My ears were ringing so loud I could barely hear. Everything sounded muffled, distant. I looked at my watch, 0700 hours, full daylight now, or would be if the smoke wasn't so thick. The whole valley was covered in smoke and dust. Everyone okay? My voice sounded strange to me, far away. Davies checked himself over. I think so. Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ. Kowalski just nodded. His hands were shaking. Rodriguez crossed himself. Santa Maria. I went to the observation slit, looked out with the binoculars. The valley was full of Germans. I'm not talking about a patrol. I'm not talking about a company. I'm talking about thousands of men, entire battalions, moving in columns through the smoke, gray-green uniforms. They were everywhere. Tanks, assault guns, trucks, artillery being towed into position, infantry in files moving north and south around our position. This wasn't a raid. This wasn't a probe. This was an offensive. Get battalion, I said to Davies. Tell them German offensive in progress, massive infantry and armor assault. Estimate regiment strength at minimum. Davies got on the radio. Fire Direction Center, this is Oscar Papa 1. Be advised. Visual contact with major German attack. Estimate regiment plus strength. Requesting immediate fire support. Over. The response was broken, hard to hear through the static. Oscar Papa 1. Understood. All stations reporting. Enemy attack. Entire front. Maintain position. Call fire as available. Priority targets armor and artillery. Roger. Maintaining position. Davies looked at me. Tommy, they're saying the whole front is under attack. Every unit is reporting Germans. I looked through the scope again. Columns of infantry moving past our position, maybe 1,500 meters away. They weren't even taking cover, just marching like they owned the valley. I started calling fire missions. Target after target. Infantry columns. Vehicle concentrations. Anything I could see. But there were so many of them. We'd fire on one column, and while the shells were in the air, I'd see 3 more columns in different spots. It was like trying to empty the ocean with a bucket. Around 0800 hours, the fog started lifting a little. I could see better. Wished I couldn't. German units were bypassing American positions, just flowing around them like water around rocks. I could see one of our infantry positions, guys from the 422nd Regiment, firing at Germans passing on both sides of them. They were going to be surrounded. Davies, tell battalion the Germans are bypassing strong points, creating pockets. We've got friendly units about to be cut off. Already told them, Sarge. They know. They're trying to coordinate counterattacks, but communications are breaking down. Kowalski came over. Sarge, the phone lines are cut. Must have happened during the barrage. It's radio only now. Of course they were. Half the lines in the division were probably cut. We were lucky the radio still worked. I kept calling fire missions. Grid coordinates. Blurring together. Davies was chain-smoking, lighting each cigarette off the last one. His hands were steady on the radio handset, though. I'll give him that. Cool under fire. Around 0900 hours, I realized something. The Germans weren't firing at our position. They knew we were here. We weren't exactly hidden, but they weren't engaging us. They were just moving past. They were going around us. They were going to cut us off and deal with us later. Davies, what are our orders? He keyed the radio. Fire Direction Center, Oscar Papa 1, request instructions, over. Long pause. Static. Then, Oscar Papa 1, maintain position, Continue fire support. Do not withdraw. Repeat, do not withdraw. Over. I looked at the valley. Germans everywhere. Moving north, moving south, moving west into our rear areas. And we're supposed to stay here. Roger, Davies said. Oscar Papa 1 maintaining position. Around 1100 hours, I saw American positions being overrun. Through the BC scope, I watched it happen. German infantry assaulting a bunker complex, maybe 2,000 meters away. Flamethrowers, demolition charges. The Americans fought. I could see muzzle flashes, but there were just too many Germans. When it was over, maybe 20 Americans came out with their hands up. I reported it. Battalion acknowledged. Nothing they could do. Rodriguez saw it too. Madre de Dios. Around 1300 hours, we started hearing German voices. Not in the valley, close, maybe 200 meters away. They were moving through the woods on both sides of our position. We're surrounded. Davies looked at me. Tommy? I know. Keep calling fire missions. That's all we can do. We kept working. I'd spot targets, calculate coordinates, call them in. Davies would transmit. Battery would fire. Shells would land. Germans would die. More Germans would take their place. It's 1400 hours now. I'm writing this during a brief lull. My hands are cramping from holding the binoculars. My eyes burn. I've been staring through that scope for 7 hours. We're cut off. I know we are. The German units I'm seeing now are our rear areas. They've broken through. The front line doesn't exist anymore. And Battalion keeps telling us to maintain position. Rodriguez's mother was right. Something bad was coming. Well, it's here now. The barrage is starting again. German artillery targeting American positions behind us now. They're not shooting at us because they're going past us. We're irrelevant. A problem for later. Davies is on the radio again. Another fire mission. Target, German infantry column, grid coordinates. I can't even remember anymore. The numbers are blurring together. I can hear vehicles outside. Engines. German engines. They're right outside our position. We're supposed to maintain position. That's our orders. So we're maintaining position. In the middle of a German offensive, surrounded by enemy forces, calling fire on an army that has no end. My throat is raw from talking on the radio. My head is pounding. I think I'm getting a fever. Or maybe it's just stress. Rodriguez is praying constantly now. I can hear him even over the artillery. Santa Maria, Madre de Dios, ruega por nosotros pecadores, ahora y en la hora de nuestra muerte. Amen. Yeah, Rodriguez. Now and at the hour of our death. I need to stop writing. Need to get back on the scope. More targets. Always more targets. The world is ending, and all I can do is calculate coordinates and watch men die. Entry 6. December 16th, 1944, 2000 hours. Still here. Barely. 8 hours ago I wrote that the world was ending. I was wrong. That was just the beginning. The day has been one continuous nightmare. I've lost count of the fire missions. 30, 40. I don't know anymore. The numbers blur together. Grid coordinates and azimuths and deflections until they stop meaning anything except death. The German advance hasn't stopped. If anything, it's accelerating. I can see their supply columns now following the combat units. Trucks, horse-drawn wagons, even civilian vehicles they must have commandeered. This is a full-scale invasion. Around 1500 hours, we had a near miss. German assault gun, Stoogie 3, I think, came right up the road past our position, maybe 100 meters away. We held our breath. If they decided to investigate our bunker, we were done. 4 guys with carbines against an assault gun, but they kept going. They're not interested in us. They're pushing west, going for the big objectives. Road junctions, supply depots, headquarters units. We're not worth their time yet. Davies whispered, "They're gonna come back for us." He's right. Once they've broken through, they'll come back and clear out the bypass positions. Standard tactics. We're living on borrowed time. I've been trying to maintain radio contact with Battalion, but it's getting harder. Lots of static. Long pauses before they respond. When they do respond, the orders are confused, contradictory. Hold your position, fall back to second line, Maintain contact with units on your flanks. We don't have units on our flanks anymore. They're gone, dead, captured, or scattered. Around 1700 hours, we lost contact with the 589th Field Artillery Battalion. Davies kept trying to raise them. Fire Direction Center. This is Oscar Papa 1. Over. Fire Direction Center. This is Oscar Papa 1. Over. Nothing, just static. I switched to the alternate frequency. Found them there, but they weren't the 589th anymore. They were displaced, moving, under attack themselves. The radio operator sounded panicked. Young voice, scared. Oscar Papa 1, this is Able 37. We're displacing under fire. Cannot provide fire support at this time. Over. Able 37, what happened to the 589th? Oscar Papa 1, unknown. We lost contact with battalion headquarters. We're trying to link up with division artillery. Over. Roger. Able 37, good luck. Oscar Papa 1 out. Davies looked at me. We don't have a battery anymore. I heard. So what do we do? I looked out at the valley. Germans everywhere, rivers of them flowing west. We're 4 guys in a bunker, cut off, no artillery support, no orders, surrounded by an entire army. We stay here. We do our job. Tommy, we don't have a battery to call fire from. Then we observe. We report. That's the job. Davies laughed. It wasn't a happy sound. Report to who? Nobody's listening. Maybe he's right. But what else can we do? Run? Where? The Germans are everywhere. Try to fight our way back to American lines? If there are American lines anymore. I don't even know where they are. So we stay. We watch. We record what we see. Maybe someone will need the intelligence later. Maybe this diary will be the only record of what happened here. Rodriguez is in bad shape. He hasn't eaten since this morning. Can't keep anything down. Just sits there rocking back and forth praying. His face is pale, sweating despite the cold. Kowalski is holding it together better. He's a quiet kid, but there's steel in him. He's been checking the perimeter, maintaining the equipment, doing the small tasks that keep you sane when the world is falling apart. Davies is chain smoking. He's gone through 2 packs today. His hands aren't shaking anymore. I think he's past that point. Past fear into some kind of mechanical state where you just keep doing what you're trained to do because it's all you know. I'm writing this by candlelight. We're conserving the lantern fuel. Might need it later. The bunker is dark except for this one candle and the glow of the radio tubes. Outside I can hear vehicles, German voices. They're settling in for the night, looks like. Setting up positions, digging in. They're not advancing anymore, consolidating their gains. That means tomorrow they'll start again. Tomorrow they'll probably remember we're here. I tried to write a letter to my mother. Started it 3 times. Couldn't figure out what to say. Dear Mom, I'm probably going to die tomorrow. Love, Tommy. That seems too direct. Dear Mom, everything's fine. Don't worry. That's a lie. So I didn't write anything. If I die, maybe someone will find this diary. Send it to her. At least she'll know what happened. What I was thinking. I keep wondering if Michael is alive. If he's somewhere in the Pacific, sitting in a foxhole, writing a diary like this. 2 brothers in 2 different wars, both probably going to die far from home. James is the lucky one, 4F because of childhood polio, safe at home, working the mine. I used to feel sorry for him, not anymore. Davies just said something. What? I said, you think we'll see tomorrow? Yeah, I think we will. You're lying. Yeah, I am. He laughed again, that same bitter sound. At least you're honest about lying. Kowalski came over. Sarge, we need to talk about tomorrow. What about it? Do we stay here, or do we try to break out? Good question. Stay here and eventually the Germans will find us. Try to break out and we'll probably run into Germans within 100 meters. Either way, our chances aren't good. We stay. We're forward observers. This is an observation post. We observe. Even if nobody's listening? Even if nobody's listening. Kowalski nodded. Didn't argue. Good soldier. Rodriguez suddenly spoke up. First time in hours. My mama's dream. I was calling out, but she couldn't hear me. We all looked at him. That's what's happening, isn't it? We're calling out, but nobody can hear us. He's right. That's exactly what's happening. We're screaming into the void, and the void isn't answering. The candle is burning low. should save it, should try to sleep. Tomorrow is going to be bad, might be the last day, should be rested. But every time I close my eyes, I see that valley, see the Germans pouring through, see American positions being overrun, see 20 guys surrendering because there was nothing else they could do. That's going to be us tomorrow, or the day after, or the day after that. We can't hold out forever. 4 guys in a bunker can't stop an army. But we can observe. We can record. We can be witnesses. I am the man. I suffered. I was there. Yeah, Walt. I'm still here. For now. Entry 7. December 16th, 1944, 2300 hours. Still alive. It's night now. Cold, clear sky, stars out. Beautiful, actually, if you can forget about the thousands of enemy soldiers surrounding us. I'm writing this while Rodriguez sleeps. Kowalski is on watch. Davies is trying to raise battalion on the radio again. Still nothing. Just static and occasionally broken transmissions from units that are dying. We heard one transmission around 2100 hours. American unit, don't know which one. The radio operator was screaming. They're in the wire, they're in the wire, we need support, we need... Then static. Then nothing. Davies tried to raise them. No response. That's happening all across the front. Units calling for help that never comes. Radios going silent one by one. The network is collapsing. Around 2200 hours, I went outside. Needed to see. Needed to know exactly how bad it is. Bad. The valley below us is lit up with German campfires. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands. They're not even trying to hide. They know they've won this phase of the battle. They know we're scattered and confused and unable to organize a counterattack. I could hear them, laughing, singing, celebrating their victory. And here we are, 4 Americans hiding in a hole, watching the enemy party. I could see our infantry positions from up here. Some of them are still fighting. I can see muzzle flashes, occasional explosions. But they're islands now, cut off, surrounded, fighting alone. How long can they hold? How long can we? Kowalski whispered, Sarge, what do you think happened to the rest of the division? I don't know. Scattered. Some units are probably still fighting. Some probably surrendered. Some probably trying to withdraw. And us? We're here. We're still in the fight. Are we? We don't have a battery. We don't have orders. We're just sitting here waiting for them to find us. He's right. But what else can we do? We're observers, I said. We observe. We record. Someone needs to know what happened here, what we saw. Maybe that's our job now. Bear witness. Kowalski thought about that. Okay, Sarge, we bear witness. Inside the bunker, Rodriguez is having nightmares. I can hear him muttering in Spanish. No puedo verla. Mamá, no puedo oírte. I can't see her. Mom, I can't hear you. His mother's dream. He's living it now. Davies came over to me, offered me a cigarette. I don't smoke, but I took it anyway. We stood there in the dark, smoking, watching the German campfires. You know what's funny? Davies said. What? 3 days ago, I was complaining about being bored. Quiet sector, I said. Nothing ever happens, I said. I actually wanted to see some action. Yeah. Be careful what you wish for, right? Right. We finished our cigarettes in silence. Davies said, You think anyone's gonna remember this? The 106th Division getting torn apart on their first week in combat? I don't know. History remembers victories, not defeats. So we're gonna die and nobody's even gonna know. Maybe. Or maybe someone finds this diary, figures out what happened, tells the story. You really think that matters? Yeah, I do. Every death matters. Every sacrifice. Someone needs to remember. Someone needs to know we were here. We tried. We didn't run. Davies nodded. Okay then, I guess we're making history, the hard way. Around midnight, we heard movement. Close. Maybe 50 meters away. German patrol, sweeping through the woods. We killed the candle, stayed absolutely silent. The 4 of us sat there in the dark, barely breathing, listening to German voices getting closer. They were right outside. I could hear boots crunching on frozen ground, someone laughing at a joke I couldn't understand, the clink of equipment. They were going to find us. Had to. We were right there. But they walked past, just walked past, didn't even check the bunker. After they were gone, we sat there for another 10 minutes, not moving, not speaking. Finally, Davies exhaled. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Rodriguez crossed himself. Again. Always again. I'm looking at my watch now. 2,300 hours. 1 hour until December 17th. We've survived 1 day of this offensive. How many more days can we survive? The radio just crackled. Davies grabbed the handset. Oscar Papa 1, this is any station, over. Long pause. Static. Then, Oscar Papa 1, this is Charlie 6. We copy you, over. Davies. Charlie 6, Oscar Papa 1, request sitrep, what's our situation, over. Another long pause. Then Oscar. Papa 1, situation critical across entire front. Multiple breakthroughs. Division headquarters displaced. Maintain your position if possible. If overrun, destroy equipment and attempt to reach friendly lines. Good luck. Charlie 6 out. If overrun. Not if attacked. If overrun. They're assuming we're going to be overrun. They're probably right. Davies looked at me. Well, that's not encouraging? No, it's not. I should try to sleep. Kowalski has watch. Rodriguez is already asleep, still muttering in Spanish. Davies is curled up on his cot, Lucky Strike still burning in his hand. I'm exhausted, bone-deep tired. But I don't think I can sleep. Too much adrenaline. Too much fear. Outside, the German campfires burn. Inside, we huddle in the dark, waiting for morning, waiting for the end. Tomorrow they'll push again. Tomorrow they might remember we're here. Tomorrow we might die. But tonight we're alive, still in the fight, still observing, still bearing witness. I am the man I suffered, I was there. Still here, Walt. Still here. Entry 8, December 17th, 1944, 0600 hours. Rodriguez is hit. It happened 20 minutes ago. I'm writing this while Kowalski tries to stop the bleeding. The Germans started their attack again at dawn. 0500 hours. Just like yesterday. Artillery barrage, but lighter this time. They don't need to soften us up anymore. We're already beaten. They're just mopping up now. I was on watch. Rodriguez was with me, helping scan the valley. Davies and Kowalski were supposed to be sleeping, but nobody's really sleeping anymore. We're all just lying down with our eyes open, waiting. The shells started falling. Most of them were hitting behind us, targeting what's left of our defensive positions. But some were walking closer, testing, ranging. One landed maybe 30 meters from our bunker, close enough that dirt rained down on us. Rodriguez said, that was close. Then the next one landed closer, 20 meters. The bunker shook. The stovepipe rattled loose. They're ranging us, I said. They know we're here. Davies grabbed the radio equipment. If we have to evacuate, we need to destroy this first. The third shell landed even closer, 15 meters. The concussion knocked coffee cups off the shelf. Rodriguez grabbed for his helmet. I looked at him. Rodriguez, go check if we can get out the back entrance. See if there are Germans behind us. He nodded, started for the door. That's when the fourth shell landed, 10 meters, right where we'd stored our extra ammunition. The explosion was enormous. The bunker filled with smoke and dust. Something hit me in the back, knocked me down. Couldn't see. Couldn't hear except for ringing. Couldn't breathe through the dust. When the smoke cleared, Rodriguez was on the ground, blood everywhere. His left side was torn up. Shrapnel from the ammunition boxes that exploded. Metal fragments embedded in his shoulder, his arm, his leg. Rodriguez crawled over to him. He was conscious, screaming, blood pulsing from his shoulder wound. Arterial blood, bright red, too much of it. Kowalski, first aid kit, now. Kowalski was already moving. Davies was on the radio. Any station this net, this is Oscar Papa 1. We have casualties, request immediate medevac, over. I pressed my hands against Rodriguez's shoulder. Blood kept coming, pulsing between my fingers, hot, slippery. I couldn't get a grip on it. Rodriguez, look at me, stay with me. His eyes were wide, terrified. Sarge, I can't feel my arm. You're okay, you're gonna be okay. Kowalski, where's that kit? Kowalski handed me the first aid kit. I grabbed a compress, pressed it against the wound. blood soaked through immediately. I grabbed another. Couldn't stop it. Tourniquet! I need a tourniquet. Davies was there with one. Between us, we got it on Rodriguez's upper arm, twisted it tight. The blood flow slowed. Didn't stop but slowed. Rodriguez was crying. No puedo sentir mi brazo. Sarge, I can't feel my arm. That's the tourniquet. That's normal. You're okay. I was lying. His shoulder was destroyed. Multiple shrapnel wounds. Fragments still embedded in the muscle. Even if we could get him to a surgeon, he might lose the arm. Kowalski was working on the leg wound. Not as bad. Bleeding but not arterial. He packed it with gauze, wrapped it tight. Rodriguez grabbed my jacket with his good hand. Don't let me die here. Please, don't let me die in this hole. You're not dying. You hear me? You're not dying. Davies was still on the radio. Any station, Oscar Papa 1 has urgent medevac request. 1 casualty, serious condition, grid coordinates 514387. Over. Static. Long pause. Then, Oscar Papa 1, unable to provide medevac at this time, all assets committed. Recommend you transport casualty to nearest aid station. Over. Davies looked at me. Transport him ourselves. Through German lines, with an enemy offensive in progress. Might as well ask us to fly him to the moon. But we couldn't leave him here. Not like this. Not bleeding out in a bunker. Okay, I said. Okay, we stabilize him here, then we move after dark. Try to get him back to friendly lines. Tommy, we don't even know where friendly lines are. Then we find them. More shells started landing. The Germans were walking fire up the ridge. They knew we were here. They were taking us out systematically. We can't stay here, Kowalski said. They're going to drop one right on top of us. He was right. We had maybe minutes before a shell came through the roof. Rodriguez was still conscious, still crying. Sarge, I gotta tell you something. Save it. You can tell me later. No, listen, Maria, my girl, she's pregnant. We didn't tell anyone. She wrote me last week. 3 months. Gonna have a baby. Oh God. She's gonna have a baby and I'm dying in Germany and I never even got to marry her. You're not dying. You hear? Me? You're not dying. You're going home. You're gonna marry Maria. You're gonna meet your kid. He smiled, blood on his teeth. You promise? I couldn't promise that. No one could promise that. But I looked him in the eye and said, I promise. Another shell landed. Closer. The roof creaked. Dirt showered down. We gotta move, Davies said. Now. Okay, Kowalski, help me get him up. Davies, grab everything we can carry. Radio, maps, codes. Destroy everything else. We got Rodriguez to his feet. He screamed when we lifted him, nearly passed out. We got him between Kowalski and me, arms over our shoulders, dragging his feet. Davies smashed the radio with a rifle butt, tore up the codes, set fire to the maps. The bunker filled with smoke. Let's go. We got Rodriguez outside. Daylight, gray and cold, smoke everywhere from the artillery, the valley full of Germans. And we're 4 guys trying to carry a wounded man through enemy territory. This is insane. This is suicide. But what choice do we have? Rodriguez is hanging between Kowalski and me. His blood is soaking into my jacket. Hot, sticky. I can smell it. Metallic and sweet and wrong. Stay with us, Rodriguez. Stay awake. I'm trying, Sarge. I'm trying. Davies is leading, carbine ready, watching for Germans. We're moving into the woods, away from the bunker, away from the valley, going west. Or what we hope is west. Compass is in my pocket, but I can't look at it while carrying Rodriguez. Behind us, I hear the bunker take a direct hit. Explosion. Fire. Everything we left behind is gone. Our home for the past week, gone in a second. We keep moving, step by step. Rodriguez's feet dragging, his breathing ragged. He's losing too much blood. The tourniquet is slowing it, but not stopping it. Talk to me, Rodriguez. Tell me about Maria. She's beautiful, Sarge. Dark hair, smile like sunshine. Laughs at all my jokes, even when they ain't funny. What else? She wants to be a teacher, like your mom. Wants to teach little kids. Says she's going to teach our baby to read before Before kindergarten, he's fading, eyes glazing, shock setting in. Stay with me, Rodriguez. Keep talking. I'm cold, Sarge. Why am I so cold? Because you're bleeding out. Because you're dying. Because I can't stop it. But I don't say that. You're okay. Just shock. You're gonna be fine. We've been moving for maybe 10 minutes. Rodriguez is getting heavier. Or we're getting weaker. Hard to tell. Davies holds up a fist. We stop. He points. German voices ahead. How many? Can't tell. We wait. Frozen. Rodriguez is breathing hard. Too loud. If they hear us, the voices fade, moving away. We wait another minute, then keep going. I don't know where we're going. Just away. Away from the bunker, away from the Germans, towards some mythical place where there are still American soldiers who can help us. Rodriguez whispers, Sarge? Yeah? I'm glad you were here. I'm glad I wasn't alone. You're not alone. We're right here. All of us. Promise me something. Anything. Tell Maria I loved her. Tell my baby. Tell my baby their papa tried to come home. You're gonna tell them yourself. But he's not listening anymore. He's somewhere else, muttering in Spanish, praying, Dios te salve Maria, llena eres de gracia. We keep moving. I'm writing this now during a rest. We've been walking for 2 hours. Rodriguez is unconscious, still breathing but barely. The blood has slowed to a trickle. That's not a good sign. Means he doesn't have much left to lose. We're lost. Davies admits it. We've been moving through forest, trying to avoid Germans, and now we don't know where we are. Compass says we've been going generally west, but we might have circled back. Hard to tell. Kowalski says we need to find a road. Risk exposure, but at least we'll know where we are. Davies says roads are where the Germans are. I say we don't have a choice. Rodriguez needs a doctor now, or he's going to die in these woods, so we're moving toward a road we heard. Vehicle sounds, engines, hopefully American, probably German. Rodriguez is dying, I can feel it. The weight of him, the way his breathing is shallow and irregular. He's slipping away. I promised I'd get him home. Promised he'd see Maria and his baby. I'm going to break that promise. We're moving again. Have to stop writing. Rodriguez, if you die, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Entry 9. December 17th, 1944, 1400 hours. We found American lines. Rodriguez is evacuated. We're alone now. The last 6 hours have been a blur. I'm trying to remember it all so I can write it down before I forget. After my last entry, we kept moving. Rodriguez unconscious between Kowalski and me. Davies scouting ahead, moving through forest, trying to avoid detection, trying to find friendly forces. Around 0900 hours, we heard vehicles. Lots of them. Engines, treads, the squeal of metal. Davies crept forward to look, came back white-faced. German armor column, Panthers, Stooges, at least 20 vehicles. They're stopped on the road, looks like they're refueling. We were maybe 200 meters away. If they sent out patrols, they'd find us. We had to go around. But Rodriguez was getting heavier. We were exhausted. And going around meant adding miles to the journey. No choice. We went around. It took 3 hours to bypass that column. 3 hours moving through thick forest, carrying Rodriguez, trying not to make noise. He woke up once, screamed from the pain. Kowalski had to cover his mouth. I thought we were done. Thought the Germans heard, but they didn't come. Maybe the tank engines were too loud. Maybe they didn't care. Maybe God was looking out for us. We kept moving. Around 1100 hours, we heard gunfire, small arms. American. I recognized the sound of DJ M1s, Garand rifles, that distinctive ping when the clip ejects. American position ahead, Davies whispered. We moved toward the sound. Careful. Didn't want to get shot by our own guys. When we got close, Davies yelled out, Americans coming in, 4 men, 1 wounded, don't shoot. A voice came back. Come forward slow, hands where we can see them. We came out of the tree line, hands up. Rodriguez hanging between Kowalski and me. There were maybe 30 soldiers, mixed units, infantry from different companies, some engineers, an anti-tank gun crew. They'd formed a defensive position around a crossroads, looked like they'd been fighting, Everyone dirty, exhausted, scared. A lieutenant came forward, young guy, maybe 23. He saw Rodriguez. Jesus, get a medic. Nelson, medic up front. They took Rodriguez, laid him on a stretcher. A medic cut away his jacket, examined the wounds, shook his head. He needs a surgeon. I can stabilize him, but that's all. That shoulder's destroyed. Where's the nearest aid station? I asked. Schönberg, maybe 4 miles west. If it's still there, we lost contact 2 hours ago. Can you evacuate him? The lieutenant shook his head. All our vehicles are destroyed. He'll have to wait for an ambulance. We called for one, but... He shrugged. But it might not come. That's what he meant. Rodriguez opened his eyes, saw me, smiled weakly. Made it, Sarge. Yeah, you made it. These guys are going to take care of you. You stay with me? I can't. We got reassigned, but you're safe now. These guys will get you out. He grabbed my hand. Thank you for not leaving me. I promised, didn't I? He smiled again. Closed his eyes. The medic gave him morphine. He drifted off. I looked at the lieutenant. You'll make sure he gets evacuated? I'll do my best, but I gotta be honest, we're holding this position by a thread. Germans could overrun us any time. If that happens, I understand. I knelt next to Rodriguez. He was unconscious now, breathing easier with the morphine. I took his helmet off. There was Maria's picture, tucked into the webbing. I looked at it. Young woman, beautiful, smiling. She's pregnant. Rodriguez is going to be a father, if he lives. I put the helmet back on his head, gently. You hang on, Rodriguez. You hear me. You hang on for Maria and your baby. He didn't answer, didn't move, just breathed. The lieutenant pulled me aside. You artillery? Forward observer, 285th FA Observation Battalion. Your battalion's gone. Overrun yesterday. Most of the division's artillery is destroyed or captured. What about division headquarters? Displaced. Last I heard they were trying to reorganize near Saint-Vith. But that was hours ago. Communications are shit. What are our orders? He laughed. Bitter sound. Orders? There are no orders. We're holding this crossroads because if we don't, the Germans get another road. But we're outnumbered 50-1 and we're almost out of ammunition. Orders. He laughed again. What do you need from us? You got a functional radio? No. Destroyed it when we evacuated our OP. Then I need you to carry a message to Schönberg. Tell them we need resupply and reinforcements. Ammunition especially. We got maybe 200 rounds left for all these rifles. 1 belt for the machine gun, that's it. You want us to run a message through German lines? You got here, didn't you? You can get to Schönberg. He was right. We didn't have anywhere else to go. Our unit was gone. Our mission was over. Might as well be useful. Okay, we'll take your message. He wrote it out, folded it up, handed it to me. Good luck. We left Rodriguez there. It was hard, felt like abandoning him, but he was getting care, better care than we could give him, and we had a mission now. Davies, Kowalski, and I headed west, towards Schönberg, 4 miles through German-infested territory. That was 2 hours ago. We're resting now in a bombed-out barn, cold, hungry, exhausted, but alive. Rodriguez's blood is still on my jacket. Dried now, brown and crusty. I can't get it off. Davies is cleaning his carbine. Kowalski is checking his ammunition. 7 rounds left. I've got 9. Davies has maybe 20. If we run into Germans, we're done. But we keep moving. Because that's what soldiers do. You get orders, you follow them. Even if the orders are insane. Even if you're probably going to die. You follow them. I miss Rodriguez. Miss his prayers. Miss his quiet presence. The 4 of us were a team. Now we're 3. I hope he makes it. I hope that medic keeps him alive. I hope he gets back to Maria and his baby. I hope all of this isn't for nothing. But hope is a dangerous thing in war. Hope gets you killed. We're moving out in 5 minutes. Schönberg is maybe 2 miles away now. We can hear artillery. Closer than before. The Germans are pushing towards Saint-Vith. That's the key defensive position. If Saint-Vith falls, the whole American line collapses. We have to get through. Have to deliver this message. Might not matter. probably won't matter, but we have to try. Davies just said something. What? I said, at least we're not bored anymore. I laughed. Couldn't help it. Here we are, behind enemy lines, almost out of ammunition, carrying a message that might be meaningless, and Davies is making jokes. Yeah, definitely not bored. Kowalski smiled. First time I've seen him smile since this started. Let's go, I said. We're moving. Rodriguez, if you're reading this someday, we got you out. We kept our promise. Now we've got to keep ourselves alive. Entry 10, December 17th, 1944, 2300 hours. Made it to Schönberg. Chaos. Everything is chaos. We reached Schönberg around 1600 hours, or what's left of it. The town is a mess. Buildings burning. Wounded everywhere. Units from a dozen different outfits all mixed together. Nobody knows who's in charge. Nobody knows what's happening. We delivered the message from that lieutenant at the crossroads, gave it to a major who was trying to organize some kind of defense. He read it, nodded, and said, "Tell him there's no resupply coming. We don't have any. Use what you've got and hold as long as you can." "That's it?" Davies said. "That's the message?" "That's the message." So that lieutenant and his 30 guys are going to die holding a crossroads with 200 rounds of ammunition, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. The major saw we were forward observers, asked if we could help coordinate defensive fires. I told him our battalion was destroyed. He said there were some 155 howitzers set up west of town, survivors from different batteries. They needed observers. So now we're attached to a makeshift artillery unit. New mission: defend St. Vith. They put us in a 2-story building on the edge of town. Good observation point. We can see the eastern approaches. The Germans are out there. We can hear them. Vehicle engines. Artillery fire. They're getting ready for another push. Davies got us set up with a new radio. SCR 610 same as before. The battery is on the edge of town, maybe 2 miles back. 4 155 howitzers. Big guns. 8-inch shells. They can reach out to 14,000 meters and hit like the fist of God. Around 1800 hours, the Germans started probing the town. Infantry and squad strength, testing our defenses, looking for weak points. I called fire on them. First mission with the new battery. Grid coordinates, azimuth, deflection. The radio operator on the other end was calm, professional, relayed the fire mission. 30 seconds later, shot over. Shot out. I watched through the BC scope. Counted 7, 8, 9, 10. The street erupted. 155 shells landing right on target. Buildings disintegrating. Smoke and fire. When it cleared, the Germans were gone. Dead or retreating. Either way, not attacking anymore. Good shooting, Davies said. Yeah, good shooting. More men dead because I calculated coordinates. More bodies. I'm getting used to it. That's the terrible part. I'm getting used to killing. We spent the evening calling fire missions. Target after target. German infantry. German vehicles. A German artillery position we spotted. The math is automatic now. See target, measure range, calculate coordinates, call fire, watch them die. Repeat. Around 2100 hours we got new orders. The division is trying to form a defensive line around St. Vith. It's the key position, major road junction. If St. Vith falls, the Germans can push north and south, split the American forces, roll up the whole line. So we hold St. Vith, or we die trying. The major came by our observation post, told us we're doing good work, told us to keep it up. Then he said something that chilled me. You boys know we're surrounded, right? What? The Germans broke through north and south of us. They're in our rear areas. We're cut off. The only way out is west, and that route's getting smaller every hour. Soon there won't be a way out at all. So what do? We hold. We buy time for the rest of the army to organize a counterattack. We hold until we can't hold anymore. And then? He shrugged. Then we surrender or we die. Those are the options. He left, just like that, told us we're surrounded and doomed and walked away. Davies looked at me. That's not encouraging. No, it's not. Kowalski said, My sister's getting married next month. I'm supposed to be the best man. I already bought a suit. We looked at him, first personal thing he said in days. I'd really like to be there, he said quietly. I'd really like to see my sister get married. You will, I said. You promise? I thought about Rodriguez, how I promised him he'd survive, how I don't know if that promise meant anything. No, I said. I can't promise that. Kowalski nodded. Yeah, thanks for being honest. We kept working. More fire missions. The Germans are massing for an attack tomorrow. We can hear them moving in the dark. Trucks, tracked vehicles, artillery being positioned. Tomorrow is going to be bad. Around midnight, I tried to eat something. C-ration beef and gravy, cold from the can, tasted like cardboard and grease. But it's calories. Need to keep my strength up. Davies shared his cigarettes. We sat there smoking, watching the darkness, listening to the Germans prepare. You ever think about before? Davies said. Before what? Before all this. Before the war. What we were going to do with our lives. I was going to be a surveyor, work for the railroad, maybe save up money, go to engineering school. I was going to be a cop, Davies said. Like my old man, Chicago PD, walking a beat, breaking up fights on Saturday nights, writing tickets, normal stuff. What about you, Kowalski? Machinist. My dad has a shop in Detroit, makes parts for cars. I was going to take over someday, run the business. You still can, I said. Maybe, if we live. When we live. He smiled. Okay, when we live. I'm writing this now by candlelight. Davies is asleep in a corner, carbine across his chest. Kowalski is on watch, scanning with binoculars, calling out anything he sees. Outside, the Germans are getting ready to kill us. Inside, we're just 3 guys trying to survive until dawn. I thought about writing a letter home. Started it 3 times. But what do I say? Dear Mom, I'm surrounded by Germans. I'm probably going to die tomorrow, but don't worry. I'm sure everything will be fine. Better to just not write. Let her imagine I'm safe. Let her imagine this is still a quiet sector where nothing happens. Davies was talking in his sleep, mumbling. Don't go. Stay. Please don't go. Wonder who he's dreaming about. Mother, girl, friend who died, we all have ghosts now. Rodriguez bleeding out in the forest, that German patrol I killed 3 days ago, the American positions we watched get overrun. All ghosts, all haunting us. The candle is burning low, should sleep. Tomorrow starts early. Germans will attack at dawn. We'll call fire. They'll die. We'll die. Everyone dies, but not yet, not tonight. Tonight we're alive. I am the man. I suffered. I was there. Still here, Walt. Still suffering. Still there. Entry 11, December 18th, 1944, 0300 hours. Lost in the forest. Again. We had to evacuate the observation post. Germans overran the town defenses around midnight. We barely got out. I'm writing this while we rest. Deep in the forest somewhere south of Schoenberg. No idea exactly where. Compass is all we've got. Davies navigating by dead reckoning. Kowalski watching our back trail. Me writing this by moonlight because I need to process what just happened. The attack started around 2200 hours. German artillery. Not as heavy as the opening barrage but focused. Precise. They knew where our positions were. Shells walked right down the main street. Building after building exploding. Fire everywhere. Then the infantry came. Not probing anymore. Full assault. Hundreds of them. Maybe more. Hard to tell in the dark. I called fire mission after fire mission. The 155s were firing continuously. Shell after shell after shell. I could see the impacts. German soldiers falling. But more kept coming. Like a tide. Unstoppable. Around 2300 hours the radio died. Just went silent. I tried every frequency. Nothing. Either the battery was destroyed or they displaced without telling us. We were on our own. Time to go, Davies said. He was right. Without radio contact, we were useless. And the Germans were 3 blocks away. Getting closer. We grabbed what we could carry, destroyed the maps, smashed the radio, left everything else. Got out the back of the building just as German soldiers came in the front. We could hear them shouting, boots on stairs. They were clearing the building floor by floor. We ran. Didn't think, just ran. Down alleys, through yards, over fences. Behind us, Gunfire. Explosions. The sound of Schoenberg dying. We made it to the edge of town, found a gap in the German line, squeezed through, into the forest, into darkness. That was 2 hours ago. We've been moving ever since. West. Or what we hope is west. Hard to tell in the forest at night. Davy stopped us about 20 minutes ago. We're lost. You said you knew where we were going. I said I thought I knew. Past tense. We're lost. We've been moving through the forest, trying to avoid Germans, trying to find American lines, but we've lost our bearings. Could be going in circles for all we know. Kowalski is breaking down. I can see it. He's at his limit. We all are. 4 days of continuous combat, no sleep, barely any food, constant fear. Everyone has a breaking point. Kowalski's found his. He's sitting against a tree right now, crying. Not making sound, just tears running down his face. He's not even trying to hide it anymore. Davy sat next to him, put an arm around his shoulders, didn't say anything, just sat there. After a while, Kowalski said, I can't do this anymore. Yes, you can, Davy said. No, I can't. I'm done. I'm finished. You're not finished. You're tired. We're all tired, but we're not finished. What's the point? We're gonna die anyway. The whole division is destroyed. We're surrounded. There's no way out. Davies looked at me, then back at Kowalski. Listen to me. We're not dead yet. As long as we're breathing, we've got a chance. We just keep moving. Keep trying. That's all we can do. I want to go home, Kowalski said. I just want to go home. Me too, kid. Me too. They sat there for a while longer. Then Kowalski wiped his face, stood up. Okay, let's keep moving. Just like that. One moment broken, the next moment functioning. That's what we're doing now. Functioning, not living, just functioning. One foot in front of the other, one breath after another, mechanically surviving. We heard voices about an hour ago. German, close, maybe 100 meters away. We froze, held our breath, waited. The voices moved away. We waited another 10 minutes, then kept moving. My feet are numb. Can't feel my toes. Boots are frozen solid. Every step is painful. But I keep walking because stopping means dying. Davies pulled out his compass, studied it by moonlight. We're going west, I think. Hard to tell with all the trees. How far to American lines? Don't know. Could be a mile, could be 10, could be there are no American lines anymore. That's the fear, isn't it? That we're walking through the forest looking for an army that doesn't exist anymore. That the whole line collapsed and we just don't know it yet. But we keep walking. I keep thinking about Rodriguez. Wonder if he made it. If that lieutenant held the crossroads long enough for an ambulance to get through. If Rodriguez is in a hospital somewhere, recovering, writing letters to Maria, or if he bled out in that aid station. If the Germans overran the position and he died there, helpless, wounded, alone. I'll never know. That's the terrible part. I'll never know if my promise meant anything. Kowalski just stumbled, went down hard, didn't get up right away, just lay there. Kowalski? I'm okay, just give me a second. We helped him up. He can barely stand. Exhaustion, hypothermia starting. If we don't find shelter soon, get warm, we're going to die out here. Not from Germans. From cold. From exposure. From just giving up. Davy said, we need to find somewhere to hole up. Wait for dawn. Can't navigate in the dark anyway. He's right, but finding shelter means stopping. And I'm afraid if we stop, we won't start again. But we don't have a choice. We found a thick stand of evergreens. Dense branches, some shelter from the wind. We're huddled here now. 3 bodies pressed together for warmth. Davy's in the middle because he's skinniest. Kowalski and me on the outside. It's maybe 20 degrees. Feels colder with the wind. We're all shivering. Can't stop. Bodies trying to generate heat. Burning calories we don't have. I tried to eat something. Sea ration crackers. So dry they stick in my throat. But it's calories. Need calories. Davies is shaking. His teeth are chattering. This is ridiculous. I'm from Chicago. I'm used to cold. But this is something else. Think warm thoughts, Kowalski said. Like what? My sister's wedding. It's gonna be in July, middle of summer, hot, humid. We're gonna roast in our suits. I was complaining about it. Now I'd give anything to be roasting in July. I'm thinking about my mom's kitchen, I said. Sunday mornings. She makes pancakes. The kitchen is so warm from the stove. Smells like butter and syrup. You can barely breathe, it's so warm. Used to complain about it. Now you'd give anything to be there. Davies finished. Yeah. We sat in silence for a while, shivering, trying to generate warmth through willpower. Kowalski said, "You guys are the best friends I've ever had." We looked at him. I mean it. I know we only met a couple weeks ago, but what we've been through, Rodriguez too, you guys are my brothers now, more than friends. Brothers. Same, Davies said. Yeah, I said. Same. If we die out here, Kowalski said, at least we die together. We're not dying, I said. We're surviving. Tomorrow we find American lines. We get back to safety. We live to tell this story. You believe that? Honestly, no, I don't believe that. I think we're going to die in these woods, from cold or Germans or just exhaustion. I think this is how it ends, but I can't say that. Yeah, I said, I believe that. Kowalski nodded. He doesn't believe me, but he appreciates the lie. Davies is asleep now, or unconscious, hard to tell. His breathing is shallow but steady. Kowalski is drifting off too, fighting it but losing. I need to stay awake. Someone needs to keep watch, but my eyes are so heavy, so tired. I'm writing this to stay awake, to keep my mind active, to remember, to bear witness. If someone finds this diary, knows what happened here. 3 soldiers lost in a forest in Germany, December 18th, 1944. Cold, scared, trying to survive. We were part of the 106th Infantry Division, the Golden Lions. We arrived in Europe 3 weeks ago. Green troops, untested. They put us in a quiet sector. 5 days later, the Germans destroyed us, scattered us, killed us. But we're still here, still fighting, not with guns anymore, with willpower, with determination, with the simple, stubborn refusal to die. My hand is cramping, can barely hold the pen, should stop writing, should try to sleep while I can, but I'm afraid if I sleep, I won't wake up. Hypothermia. You fall asleep in the cold and you don't wake up, so I keep writing. Davies is mumbling in his sleep again. Sorry, so sorry. Couldn't help. Wonder what he's apologizing for, what guilt he carries. We all have guilt now. Things we did, things we didn't do, people we couldn't save. Rodriguez bleeding in my arms, that German patrol I killed, the American positions we watched fall, all ghosts, all guilt. The pen just slipped out of my hand, fingers too numb, can't write anymore. Have to sleep, just for a little while, just to rest. Kowalski. Davies, if you're reading this later, if I don't wake up, I'm sorry. I tried, I really tried. Mom, Dad, James, Michael, if you're reading this, I love you. I'm sorry I couldn't come home. Walt Whitman wrote, I was there. Yeah, Walt, I was there. I suffered, I was there. And now I'm so tired, so cold. Just need to rest, just for a moment. Entry 12. December 18th, 1944, 0800 hours. We survived the night. Barely. I woke up about an hour ago. Thought I was dead. Couldn't feel my body. Couldn't move. Just lying there in the frozen leaves covered in frost, wondering if this was the afterlife. Then Kowalski groaned. Davies coughed. We were all alive, barely, but alive. It took us 20 minutes to get moving. Our muscles were locked up from the cold, every joint screaming. But we got up. We moved. Because that's what you do. You survive. The sun is up now, gray light through the trees. Temperature maybe 25 degrees. Still cold but not deadly. We can make it if we keep moving. Davies found a stream, frozen solid, but we broke through the ice, drank from underneath. Water so cold it hurts your teeth. But it's water. We're dehydrated. Needed it desperately. Kowalski checked his ammunition. 3 rounds left. I've got 5. Davies has maybe 15. If we run into Germans, we can fire 18 shots before we're defenseless. Better make them count. We oriented ourselves with the compass. Confirmed we're still heading generally west. That's something. Keep going west, eventually we hit American lines. Or the English Channel, one or the other. Davies tried to make a joke about that. It didn't land. Too tired for jokes now. We've been walking for 2 hours, moving through forest, avoiding roads, listening for engines or voices that would tell us where the Germans are. Around 0900, we heard gunfire, American weapons, M1s, bars, close, maybe half a mile away. That's our guys, Davies said. We moved toward the sound, careful, didn't want to walk into a firefight. As we got closer, the gunfire intensified. Small arms, some mortar fire, Germans returning fire. It was a fight. We found a ridgeline overlooking the action. Down below, maybe 30 American soldiers were defending a small cluster of buildings. Germans attacking from 3 sides. Maybe 100 of them. Maybe more. The Americans were holding, barely. But they were running out of ammunition. I could tell from the rate of fire. Slowing down, conserving rounds. They needed help. We gotta do something, Kowalski said. Like what? We've got 18 rounds between us. So we used them, picked targets, helped them hold. Davies looked at me. Tommy? I thought about it. We could help. 3 rifles with 18 rounds. Not much, but maybe enough to make a difference. Maybe enough to buy those guys a few more minutes. Or we could walk away, keep heading west, try to survive. Nobody would blame us. We've done enough. Lost enough. But I kept thinking about that lieutenant at the crossroads, the one who asked us to deliver a message. He's probably dead now. Him and his 30 guys. They held as long as they could with 200 rounds of ammunition. These guys down there, they're doing the same thing. Holding, buying time, dying so someone else can live. Okay, I said. We help. Pick your targets. Make every shot count. We spread out along the ridge, maybe 80 meters away from the Germans. Good range for aimed fire. We settled into firing positions, found rest for our rifles, picked targets. On my mark, I said. Davies, take the machine gun crew on the left. Kowalski, those 2 guys by the truck. I'll take the officer with the binoculars. We aimed, breathed, steady. Fire. 3 shots, almost simultaneous. 3 Germans fell. The effect was immediate. The Germans scattered, confused, taking fire from a new direction. They couldn't see us, didn't know where we were, just knew someone was shooting at them. We fired again, and again. Methodical. 1 shot at a time. Each shot a kill or close enough to make them take cover. The Americans down below realized what was happening. They used the confusion to reorganize, shift positions, return fire more effectively. We kept shooting, Davies with his careful aimed fire, Kowalski working his bolt smoothly, me calculating each shot like I calculate artillery coordinates, range, wind, elevation, squeeze. My last round, I made it count. German officer trying to rally his men. He went down. Out, I said. Out, Davies said. Out, Kowalski said. 18 rounds, 18 shots. I counted maybe 12 Germans down. Not all kills, but enough to break their attack. The Germans pulled back, retreating, regrouping. The Americans had held. We slid back off the ridgeline. Didn't wait to see if we'd be spotted. Just moved, back into the forest. West. Always west. Behind us, the gunfire stopped. The Americans had survived, for now. We walked for another hour, didn't talk, too tired, too cold, too everything. Around 1100 hours, we saw American soldiers, a whole platoon, maybe 40 guys, setting up defensive positions along a road. Davies yelled out, "Americans! 3 men! Don't shoot!" A sergeant called back, "Come forward slow! Hands up!" We came forward, hands raised, carbines slung across our backs, exhausted, frozen, filthy, but alive. The sergeant looked us over. "Jesus Christ, where did you guys come from?" "Observation post near Au. Got cut off. Been walking for 2 days." "You're a long way from Au. That's all German territory now." We noticed. He smiled. First smile I've seen in days. Well, you made it. Welcome back to Friendly Lines. You boys look like hell. Feel like it too. They gave us coffee. Real coffee. Hot. Strong. It tasted like salvation. Burned my tongue, but I didn't care. Just kept drinking. They gave us food. Sea rations, but hot. They'd heated them over a fire. Hash and beans. I ate so fast I nearly threw up. Had to force myself to slow down. While we ate, the sergeant asked us what we'd seen. We told him. The German offensive, the breakthrough, the scattered units, the destroyed artillery, everything. He listened, took notes. When we finished, he said, "You guys need to report to division headquarters. They'll want to hear this, get intelligence on German movements." "Where is division headquarters?" "Saint Vith, maybe 6 miles west. Town surrounded, but still holding. Lots of traffic going in and out. You can get there if you're careful." Saint Vith. Again. Everything comes back to Saint Vith. "When do we leave?" "Soon as you're ready. I can spare a jeep and a driver. Get you there faster." "We're ready now." He looked at us. 3 walking zombies. Frozen, exhausted, but still functioning. "Yeah, I guess you are." The jeep is waiting. Kowalski and Davies are already in it. "I've got a few minutes, so I'm writing this. Need to document where we are, what we did, who we saved. Those 30 Americans back there, they might not know we helped them, might think they held on their own. That's okay. We know. That's enough." Davies just called over. "Tommy, let's go." Time to move. Time to keep fighting. "Rodriguez, I hope you made it. I hope you're alive somewhere, thinking about Maria and your baby. We're going to St. Vith. Going to report what we've seen. Going to do whatever they need us to do. Because that's what soldiers do. You keep fighting, keep moving, keep trying, even when you're frozen and exhausted and scared. Especially then." Entry 13. December 18th, 1944, 1800 hours. Saint Vith. Assigned to new observation team. Back in the fight. We reach Saint Vith around 1400 hours. The town is under siege. Germans everywhere around it. But the Americans are holding. Barely, just barely. We reported to division headquarters, or what's left of it. A basement in a half-destroyed building. Officers hunched over maps. Radios crackling. Messengers running in and out. Controlled chaos. A colonel debriefed us. Asked about German strength, movements, equipment. We told him everything. He listened, nodded, made notes. When we finished, he said, "You boys are artillery?" "Forward observers, sir. 285th FA Observation Battalion." That battalion doesn't exist anymore, but we need observers. Badly. Germans are massing for an attack on Saint Vith. This is the key position. If Saint Vith falls, the whole center collapses. We need every observer we can get. "We don't have equipment, sir. No radio, no maps." "We'll issue you new equipment. There's a makeshift artillery battery set up on the west side of town. Mixed units, 105s and 155s. They need forward observers. You're it." "Yes, sir." Just like that, we were back in business. New mission, new position, same job. Observe, calculate, kill. They issued us a new SCR 610 radio, new maps, fresh batteries, ammunition for our carbines, hot food, coffee, first decent meal in 3 days. We were assigned to an observation post on the second floor of a building on the eastern edge of town. Good visibility, clear field of fire, perfect position to watch the Germans mass for their attack. That was 4 hours ago. We've been here since, setting up, registering reference points, getting familiar with the new battery. The battery commander is a captain named Morrison, West Point, young, maybe 27. He seems competent, calm under fire. I like him. He came by our OP around 1600 hours. Explained the situation. "Germans are going to hit us tomorrow. Maybe tonight. They need Saint Vith. It's blocking their entire advance. They'll throw everything they've got at us." "How long can we hold, sir?" "As long as we can. Days. Maybe. We're buying time for the rest of the army to organize a counterattack. The longer we hold, the better chance they have to stop this offensive." Same story as that lieutenant at the crossroads. Hold and die. Buy time with blood. Understood, sir. You boys did good work getting here. Intelligence says your observations of German movements have been valuable. Keep it up. Yes, sir. He left. Davies looked at me. Here we go again. Yeah, here we go again. The view from this OP is different from our old one on the Schnee Eifel. Urban instead of rural, buildings instead of forests, but the math is the same. Calculate range, call fire, watch them die. Around 1700 hours, the Germans started probing. Infantry and company strength, testing our defenses, looking for weak points. I called fire, grid coordinates, deflection, elevation. The battery responded immediately. Shells landed right on target. High explosive, 105 millimeter, the street erupted. Germans scattered. Good effect on target, I reported. Target neutralized. Morrison came back on the radio. Nice shooting, Oscar Papa. Stand by for more targets. They're just getting started. He was right. Over the next hour, we engaged 6 different targets. Infantry, a German tank destroyer that got too close, a mortar position, an artillery observation post, ironic, killing observers while observing. Each time the math worked. Coordinates, fire, impact, death, clean, efficient, mathematical. Davies is handling the radio like he was born to it. Smooth, professional. Even under fire, he's steady. Kowalski is our security. Watching the building, making sure Germans don't sneak up on us. He's found his role, found his purpose. And I'm the observer, the calculator, the one who turns locations into corpses. We're a team again, different from before. Rodriguez is gone, but still a team. 3 guys doing a job, trying to survive. Around 1800 hours, we saw something that made my blood run cold. German armor, lots of it. Panthers, Tiger tanks, STUGs. At least 20 vehicles, forming up in the valley east of town, getting ready for an assault. I reported it immediately. Fire Direction Center, Oscar Papa, be advised. Visual contact with German armor. Estimate 20 vehicles, Panthers and Tigers. Grid coordinates 518423. Request fire mission over. Morrison came back. Oscar Papa, negative on fire mission. We don't have ammunition that can hurt tanks. Save it for infantry. Armor is for the tank destroyers. Roger, understood. But I don't know if we have tank destroyers. Haven't seen any. Just infantry and artillery. How do you stop 20 tanks with rifles? You don't. That's the answer. You don't. Davies said, tomorrow's gonna be bad. Yeah. Worse than yesterday? Maybe. Probably. Great. Can't wait. He's trying to keep his sense of humor. I appreciate that. But even Davies is running low on jokes. Too much reality. Too much death. It's hard to joke when you're watching the end of the world. Kowalski came over. Sarge, I gotta tell you something. What? I'm scared. I'm really scared. Me too. But I'm glad I'm here, with you guys. If I'm gonna die, I'm glad I'm dying with friends. We're not dying. You keep saying that. You believe it yet? Working on it? He smiled. Small smile. Okay, let me know when you do. The sun is setting now. Temperature dropping. Going to be another cold night. But at least we're in a building. 4 walls, a roof, a stove that works. Compared to last night in the forest, this is luxury. I'm writing this while Davies heats up some sea rations. Kowalski is on watch. Outside, I can hear sporadic gunfire, the constant background noise of war. You get used to it. That's the terrible part. You get used to the sound of people dying. Morrison came on the radio again. All observation posts, be advised. German attack expected 0600 hours tomorrow. Maximum effort defense. Fire at will on all targets. Make every shell count. We don't know how long the ammunition will last. Roger. Oscar Papa standing by. 0600 hours. Dawn. 8 hours from now. 8 hours to live. No. Can't think like that. 8 hours to prepare. To rest. To be ready. Davies handed me a tin of beef stew. Hot. Smells like salt and grease in home. I eat it slowly, savoring every bite. Last decent meal for a while. Maybe the last decent meal ever. Kowalski is writing a letter. To his sister. The one getting married next month. He's writing in case he doesn't make it, in case someone needs to send it to her. I should write letters too, to Mom, to Dad, to James, to Michael, if he's still alive. But I don't know what to say. How do you sum up your life in a letter? How do you say goodbye? I don't know. So I write this diary instead. Document what's happening. Bear witness. Maybe someone will read it someday. Maybe someone will understand what we went through. Or maybe it'll burn with everything else when St. Vith falls. Either way, I'm writing it. Davies finished his food, lit a cigarette, offered me one. I took it. We smoked in silence, watching the darkness outside, listening to the Germans prepare. You think we'll make it? Davies asked. I don't know. Honest answer. I appreciate that. What about you? You think we'll make it? He thought about it. Long pause. Then, no, probably not. Too many Germans, not enough ammunition, math doesn't work out. Since when do you do math? He laughed. Fair point, but even I can see this doesn't end well. So what do? We fight. We hold as long as we can. We kill as many of them as possible before they kill us. That's all we can do. He's right. That's all we can do. The cigarette is done. I crushed it out. Kowalski came over from the window. All quiet out there. For now. Try to get some sleep, I said. I'll take first watch. You sure? Yeah, I won't sleep anyway. They settled in. Davies on the floor near the stove, Kowalski against the wall, both asleep in minutes. Exhaustion does that. You stop thinking and your body just shuts down. I'm at the window now, looking out at the darkness, looking at the German positions, campfires, vehicle lights, the glow of their preparations. Tomorrow they come. Tomorrow we die or survive. No middle ground. I pulled out my Whitman book, read by candlelight. I am the man. I suffered. I was there. Yeah, Walt. Still here. Still suffering. But still fighting. Tomorrow the Germans attack. Tomorrow we find out if we have what it takes to hold, to survive, to win, or if St. Vith becomes our grave. 8 hours until we know. 8 hours until dawn. I'll be here. Watching. Calculating. Observing. That's the job. That's what we do. Until we can't do it anymore. Entry 14. December 19th, 1944, 0900 hours. Davies is hit. Dear God, Davies is hit. The attack started at 0600 hours, right on schedule. German artillery barrage, heavy, sustained. 30 minutes of continuous fire. Our building shook, windows shattered, part of the roof collapsed. We huddled in the corner, waiting for it to end, waiting to die. When it stopped, I went to the observation window. The street below was cratered, buildings burning, smoke everywhere. Then the tanks came, 20 of them, just like I'd seen yesterday. Panthers leading, tigers in support, Stooges providing covering fire, and behind them, hundreds of infantry, maybe thousands. Fire Direction Center, Oscar Papa, German armor assault in progress, multiple targets, requesting fire on infantry positions, grid coordinates. I called fire mission after fire mission. The battery responded. Shells landed among the German infantry. Men fell. But the tanks kept coming. Our artillery can't touch the armor. The 105s and 155s, they're indirect fire weapons. They can kill infantry all day, but tanks shrug them off unless you get a direct hit. On top. And that's nearly impossible with indirect fire, so the tanks kept coming. Around 0700 hours, American tank destroyers engaged them. M10 Wolverines, thin-skinned but with powerful guns. They knocked out 2 Panthers, then a Tiger got one of them. Massive explosion. The crew didn't have a chance. The Germans pushed into the town, street by street, building by building. We kept calling fire, kept killing infantry. But there were so many of them. Around 0800 hours, Germans reached our block. We could hear them below us, breaking into buildings, clearing rooms, getting closer. We need to displace, Kowalski said. Not yet. We can still work from here. Another fire mission. German infantry massing for an assault on the next block. I called it in. Shells landed. Bodies everywhere. Then I heard it. The whistle. Incoming. German artillery. Counter battery fire. They'd spotted our muzzle flashes, calculated our position. They were firing back. Get down! The shell hit our building, direct hit, second floor, right where we were. The world exploded. I was thrown across the room, hit the wall. Everything went black for a second. When I came to, I couldn't hear anything except ringing. Couldn't see through the dust and smoke. Davies. Kowalski? Kowalski was on the floor, moving, getting up. Blood on his face from a cut, but otherwise okay. Davies was by the window, not moving. Davies. I crawled over to him, rolled him over. His right arm was gone, not wounded, gone. Torn off below the elbow, bone and meat and blood, so much blood. His eyes were open, conscious, in shock. Tommy. His voice was weak. Tommy, my arm. I see it. Just hold on. I grabbed the first aid kit, tourniquet, got it around his upper arm, twisted it tight. The blood slowed, didn't stop but slowed. Davies looked at where his arm used to be, looked at me, tried to smile. Well, this is just great. Don't talk, save your strength. Gonna have to write left-handed now. Tell my girl, tell her I'll write left-handed. You'll tell her yourself. Kowalski was there, helping. We wrapped the stump, packed it with gauze, used every compress in the kit. The blood kept coming but slower now. Davies passed out. Shock, blood loss, both. His face was pale, breathing shallow. We gotta get him out, Kowalski said. I know. But how? Germans were in the building below us, in the streets, everywhere. The radio was destroyed, smashed by the same explosion that took Davies' arm. No way to call for help, no way to coordinate fire. We were blind, useless. Grab him, I said. We're moving. Kowalski and I got Davies between us, arms over our shoulders, his feet dragging. He woke up halfway down the stairs, started screaming. The pain was unbelievable. Even with the morphine I'd given him, even with the shock, the pain was too much. Quiet, I hissed. Germans are close. He bit down on his lip, tried to stop screaming, ended up just whimpering. We reached the ground floor, peered out. The street was full of Germans, moving west, advancing. We couldn't go that way. Back door, Kowalski said. We went through the building, found the back entrance, opened it carefully. Alley behind, empty. For now. We moved into the alley, carrying Davies, his blood dripping, leaving a trail. If the Germans followed, don't think about that. Just move. We made it 2 blocks before we ran into American soldiers, rear guard, covering the withdrawal, because St. Vite was falling. The Germans were taking it. We'd held as long as we could. Now we were running. A medic took Davies, laid him on a stretcher, started treating him properly. IVs, better bandages, real morphine. Will he make it? I asked. The medic looked at the arm, at the blood loss, at Davies' pale face. Maybe, if we get him to a surgical unit, but what? We're pulling out, trying to establish a new line west of here. Don't know where the nearest surgical unit is. Don't know if we can get him there. You have to try. We will, but I'm not making promises. They carried Davies away. He was unconscious again, maybe for the best, couldn't feel the pain. Kowalski and I stood there, covered in Davies' blood, watching him go. He saved our lives, Kowalski said. Back at the start, his jokes, his attitude, he kept us sane, and now, he's not dead. He's dying. He's not dead. Not yet. But Kowalski was probably right. Davies was dying. Lost too much blood, needed surgery, needed care we couldn't give him. Another casualty. Another friend gone. First Rodriguez, now Davies. Just Kowalski and me left. 2 out of 4. 50% casualties. The math is simple. Keep fighting. Eventually everyone dies. An officer found us. Lieutenant, young, scared. Everyone's scared now. You two, what unit? Forward observers, sir. 285th FA Observation Battalion. You still functional? Yes, sir. We need observers. New defensive line forming 3 miles west. Report to the artillery assembly area. they'll assign you. Yes, sir. And just like that, we were back in it. New line, new position, same job. We're resting now in a bombed out farmhouse, maybe 2 miles west of St. Vith. We can still hear the fighting. The town is falling. Everything we fought for. Everyone who died. All for nothing. The Germans took St. Vith. They won. Kowalski is sitting against the wall, not talking, just staring. I don't know what to say to him. Don't know how to process this. Rodriguez gone. Davies gone. Our observation post destroyed. St. Vith fallen. The whole front collapsing. And we just keep going. Keep fighting. Because that's what soldiers do. I'm so tired. Not just physically. Mentally. Spiritually. I'm tired of watching people die. Tired of killing. Tired of the math that turns human beings into coordinates. But I can't stop. Can't give up. Rodriguez is out there somewhere. Maybe alive. Maybe not. Davies is fighting for his life. Someone has to survive. Someone has to tell the story. That's us now. Kowalski and me. The only ones left from our original crew. We have to survive. We have to make it. For Rodriguez. For Davies. For everyone who didn't. The lieutenant just came by. New orders. Report to artillery assembly area. Get assigned to new battery. New observation post. Start again. Always starting again. Always finding new ways to fight. New ways to kill. New ways to survive. Kowalski stood up. Let's go, Sarge. You okay? No, but I can still function. That's enough. Yeah, that's enough. We're moving out. New mission. New position. Same war. Davies, if you're reading this somehow, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I couldn't save your arm. I'm sorry I couldn't keep you safe. But I got you out. That's something. That's all I could do. Now I gotta keep Kowalski alive. And myself. Gotta survive. Gotta bear witness. Gotta finish this. Entry 15. December 19th, 1944, 2000 hours. We're surrounded again. This is the end. The new defensive line never materialized. The Germans broke through everywhere. North, south, west. They're behind us now. Ahead of us. All around us. We're trapped. Kowalski and I reached the artillery assembly area around noon. It was chaos. Batteries displaced, equipment destroyed, nobody knew where anyone was supposed to be, orders contradicting orders. A major grabbed us. You observers? Yes, sir. Good. I've got a battery of 105s about a mile west. They need someone to spot for them. Take this radio, these coordinates, get up on that ridge, and start calling fire. Yes, sir. We took the radio, new SCR 610. Seems like we go through one a day now. Headed for the ridge. Never made it. German armor cut across our route. Panthers and Stooges, we had to go to ground. Hide in a culvert while they passed. Must have been 30 tanks, all heading west, all cutting off our escape. When they passed, we tried a different route. Ran into German infantry. Had to backtrack. Found another way. Ran into more Germans. We were boxed in. Around 1500 hours, we found a small group of American soldiers. Maybe 20 guys. Mixed units. Infantry. Engineers. Couple of artillerymen like us. No officers. Just enlisted guys trying to survive. A sergeant was in charge. Grizzled veteran. Looked 50, but probably 30. He'd seen combat before. You could tell. You guys lost too? He asked. Yeah, trying to reach artillery assembly area. Can't get through. Nobody can. Germans are everywhere. We're cut off, all of us. What's the plan? He laughed. Bitter sound. Plan? There is no plan. We hold here until dark, then we try to break out, head west, find American lines, if there are American lines. And if we can't break out, he shrugged, then we surrender or die. Those are the options. I've heard that before. Keep hearing it. Surrender or die. We found defensive positions in a cluster of buildings. Set up the radio. Tried to raise the battery. No response. Tried every frequency. Nothing. Either the battery was destroyed or they displaced without telling us. We were alone. Around 1700 hours the Germans found us, probing attacks, testing our defenses. We drove them off. Barely. Used half our ammunition doing it. They'll be back. In force. And when they come, we won't stop them. The sergeant called everyone together. Listen up. We're surrounded, low on ammunition, no support, no way out until dark. When the sun goes down, we move. Try to slip through German lines, head west. Every man for himself if we get separated. Understood?" Everyone nodded. "If you got letters to write, write them now. If you got prayers to say them. We move in 3 hours." Kowalski pulled out his letter, the one to his sister, read it over, added more, sealed it up, wrote her address on the envelope. "If I don't make it," he said to me, "mail this. Please. You're gonna make it. Tommy, just promise." I took the letter. "I promise." He nodded, handed me another envelope. "And this one's for my parents. Tell them I died doing my duty. Tell them I wasn't scared. You are scared. I know, but they don't need to know that." I took the letter, put both in my jacket pocket, next to my heart. "What about you?" Kowalski asked. "You gonna write anyone?" I thought about it. Thought about my mother, my father, James, Michael. But what would I say? How do you say goodbye in a letter? How do you make it okay that you're dying in a foreign country, surrounded by enemies, with no hope of escape? You can't. So I'm writing this instead. In this diary. Last entry. Maybe the last thing I ever write. To whoever finds this, my name is Thomas Brennan, Staff Sergeant, 285th Field Artillery Observation Battalion, 106th Infantry Division. I'm 24 years old. From Scranton, Pennsylvania. I was a surveyor before the war. I liked numbers, mathematics, the precision of measurement, the certainty of calculation. The Army made me a forward observer, taught me to turn numbers into death, grid coordinates into corpses, mathematics into murder. I was good at it. That's the terrible truth. I was good at killing, but I was also good at surviving, at keeping my men alive, at doing my duty even when it seemed impossible. We came to Europe 3 weeks ago. Green troops. Untested. They put us in a quiet sector. 5 days later, the Germans destroyed us, but we didn't break. We fought, we held, we gave everything we had. Rodriguez is gone, wounded. Maybe alive, I hope so. I hope he made it back to Maria and his baby. Davies is gone, lost his arm. Maybe dying. I hope he survives. I hope he gets to write left-handed letters to his girl. Kowalski is still here, still fighting. Best friend I ever had. If he survives and I don't, tell him I was proud to serve with him. To my mother. I'm sorry I couldn't come home. I'm sorry I broke your heart. But know that I did my duty. I fought with honor. I tried to be the man you raised me to be. To my father. I'm sorry I won't be a surveyor. Sorry I won't carry on the Brennan name. But I used the skills you taught me. Measurement, precision, attention to detail. They saved lives. They mattered. To James, don't feel guilty about being 4F. You're the lucky one. You survived. You get to live. That's enough. To Michael, if you're reading this, you survived the Pacific. I'm glad. The family needs one of us to come home. Be that man. Live for both of us. The sun is setting now. Temperature dropping. Going to be another cold night if we survive that long. The sergeant just came by. 30 minutes, then we move. Good luck, everyone. Kowalski checked his carbine. 3 rounds left. I've got 4. 7 rounds between us. Against an army, the math doesn't work. But we're going to try anyway, because that's what soldiers do. You try. Even when the odds are impossible. Even when you know you're going to lose. You try. I am the man. I suffered. I was there. Yeah, Walt, I was there. I saw the beginning. I'm seeing the end. I was there. Kowalski is ready. The sergeant is signaling. Time to move. This is it. This is the end. Or maybe just the beginning of something else. We'll see. Entry 16. December 19th, 1944, 2300 hours. Prisoners. We tried to break out. Didn't work. The Germans were waiting. They knew we'd try to escape after dark. They set up positions all around us. Machine guns, mortars, artillery. We got maybe 200 meters before all hell broke loose. Tracers everywhere. Explosions. Men screaming, falling, dying. The The sergeant went down first. Machine gun. He was dead before he hit the ground. We scattered, tried to find cover, tried to return fire. But there were too many of them, too many guns, too much fire. Kowalski and I made it to a ditch, huddled there while bullets snapped overhead, explosions all around us. We're not getting through, Kowalski said. I know. So what do we do? I thought about fighting, about using our last 7 rounds, about dying in that ditch with a carbine in our hands. But what would that accomplish? We'd kill maybe 1 or 2 Germans. Then we'd die. And for what? Pride? Honor? Or we could surrender, live, maybe survive the war, maybe get home. Rodriguez chose to live. We got him out, got him medical care, because living matters more than dying heroically. Maybe the same applies to us. We surrender, I said. What? We surrender. We destroy our equipment. We give up. We live. Kowalski looked at me. In the darkness, I could see tears on his face. I don't want to die here, Tommy. I really don't want to die here. Then we don't. We surrender. We survive. We go home. He nodded. Okay, what do we do? I smashed the radio, ground the tubes under my boot heel, tore up the codes, the maps, everything that could give the Germans intelligence. Then I pulled out my Whitman book, the one my mother gave me, the one I'd carried through everything. I looked at it for a long moment. The Germans would take it if they found it, use it for toilet paper or fire kindling. I couldn't let that happen. I hid it under my jacket, tucked it into my waistband against my skin. They wouldn't find it there. They wouldn't take it from me. Ready? I asked Kowalski. Ready. We stood up, raised our hands, carbines on the ground. Don't shoot, I yelled in English. Americans surrendering. Don't shoot. The firing stopped. German voices, shouting orders, flashlights in our faces. Hände hoch, higher. We raised our hands higher, stood there while German soldiers approached. Young guys, my age, looked as scared as we felt. They searched us, took our weapons, our ammunition, our watches, my compass, Kowalski's letters. They didn't find the Whitman book. It was pressed against my stomach, hidden. They lined us up with the other Americans who'd surrendered. Maybe 10 of us left, out of 20. The rest were dead or dying in the darkness. A German officer came over, looked us over, spoke pretty good English. You are prisoners of war now. You will be treated according to Geneva Convention. Do not try to escape. Do not resist. You will be marched to collection point. Any attempt to escape will be met with lethal force. Understood? We nodded. Good. Move. They marched us east, back toward German lines, away from any chance of rescue, into captivity. We walked for 2 hours, cold, exhausted, hands zip-tied behind our backs, guards on all sides, no chance of escape. Around 2200 hours, we reached a collection point, old barn. Hundreds of American prisoners inside, maybe 1,000, all from the 106th Division, all captured in the past few days. They cut our zip ties, shoved us inside, shut the doors. Inside the barn, it was almost warm. Body heat from hundreds of men, still cold but not deadly. We found a corner, sat down, just sat there, trying to process what had happened. We'd surrendered. We were prisoners. The war was over for us. Kowalski was crying, quiet, just tears running down his face. I'm sorry, he said. I'm sorry I'm crying. I know I should be tough, should be strong, but I can't. It's okay. Cry. I want to cry too. You think we did the right thing, surrendering? Yeah, I do. We survived. That's all that matters now. Rodriguez would have understood. Yeah, he would have. Davies too. He'd make a joke about it, something about German hospitality. I laughed, couldn't help it. Yeah, he would. We sat in silence for a while. Around us, other prisoners, some talking quietly, some praying, some just sitting in shock. I found another guy from our division. Asked about casualties. He said the 106 took over 8,000 casualties in 4 days. Entire regiments surrendered. The worst American defeat in Europe. 8,000 men. Gone. Dead. Wounded. Captured. We were part of that. Part of the defeat, part of the surrender. Does that make us cowards or survivors? I don't know. Can't think about it now. A guard came in, German soldier. He spoke broken English. No try escape. Guards outside, machine guns. You try escape, you die. Stay here. Food coming tomorrow. Water soon. He left. At least they're feeding us, Kowalski said. Geneva Convention. They have to. You think they'll follow it? After everything? I thought about the rumors. The massacre at Malmedy. SS troops executing prisoners. 84 Americans shot in a field. I don't know. I hope so. But hope is dangerous. Hope gets you killed. I'm writing this now by the dim light coming through cracks in the barn walls. Moonlight, stars, the world outside continuing while we sit here in captivity. The Whitman book is still pressed against my stomach. Hidden, safe, my last connection to home. To the person I was before all this. I am the man. I suffered. I was there. Yeah, Walt, still here, still suffering, but at least I'm alive. Tomorrow they'll march us to a stalag, prison camp, somewhere in Germany. We'll spend the rest of the war there, locked up, waiting for liberation. If liberation comes, Kowalski is asleep, or pretending to be. I should sleep too, but I can't. Too many thoughts, too many what-ifs. What if we'd fought instead of surrendering? Would we be dead now? Probably. What if Rodriguez survived? Is he in a hospital somewhere, or did he die? What if Davies made it to surgery? Is he alive? Will he keep his promise to write left-handed? What if we'd held Saint-Vith longer? Would it have mattered? What if the Germans win? What if we lost the war? Too many questions, no answers. All I know is this: we survived. We're alive. That has to count for something. Rodriguez, Davies, if you're out there, if you survived, I hope you make it home. I hope this was all worth it. Kowalski, if you're reading this later, if we got separated, I'm glad I served with you. You're a good man, a good soldier, a good friend. To whoever finds this diary, this is what happened. This is what we went through. This is the truth of the Battle of the Bulge from the losing side. We fought, we lost, we survived. That's the story. That's all there is. Entry 17, December 20th, 1944, evening. POW column. Marching east. They moved us out this morning, the whole barn full of prisoners, maybe 800 men, lined us up in columns, started marching us toward Germany. No food before we left, just a cup of water. Barely enough to wet your throat. We've been walking for 10 hours, maybe 15 miles. Hard to tell. Every mile feels like 10 when you're cold and hungry and defeated. The guards are Wehrmacht, not SS. That's something. They're following the rules mostly. Haven't shot anyone yet. Haven't beaten anyone. Just march us along. Keep us moving. But I see how they look at us. Some of them with contempt. Some with pity. Some with fear because they know this war's turning against them too. We're not the only prisoners. Every few miles we pass more American soldiers being marched east. Hundreds of them. Thousands. All from the 106th Division. All captured in the breakthrough. This is what defeat looks like. Columns of prisoners stretching for miles. Guards with rifles. No hope of rescue. Around noon we passed through a village. Belgian civilians watching from windows. Some looked sympathetic. Some looked away. One old woman was crying. A young Belgian girl ran out, maybe 10 years old. She had bread, wanted to give it to the prisoners. A German guard stopped her, took the bread, sent her away. But then he divided the bread among the prisoners in my section, 4 slices each, dry, hard, but food. The guard caught my eye, shrugged. Geneva Convention, he said in broken English, must feed prisoners. Maybe some Germans are trying to do the right thing. Maybe not all of them are monsters. Or maybe I'm just looking for hope where there isn't any. We're stopped now for the night, in another barn, this one smaller. Maybe 200 men crammed inside, barely room to sit. They gave us soup, thin broth with a few vegetables. Not much, but it's warm. First hot food in days. Kowalski found me in the crowd. He looks terrible, face pale, eyes hollow. But he's alive. You doing okay? I asked. Define okay. Still breathing, still moving. Then yeah, I'm okay. We sat together, shared body heat, tried to stay warm. Around us, other prisoners, some talking, some silent, some crying, everyone processing the same thing. We lost. We're prisoners. The war is over for us. A soldier next to us was talking, telling his story, how his unit got surrounded, how they fought for 2 days with no food or ammunition, how the officers finally ordered them to surrender, how they had no choice. We did our duty, he kept saying. We did our duty. We fought. We held as long as we could. That's all anyone can ask. Maybe he's right. Maybe that's enough. Another soldier was talking about Malmedy, about the massacre, about SS troops executing prisoners. That's what they do, he said. They don't take prisoners. They just kill us. A guard heard him, came over. Wehrmacht sergeant, older guy. That was SS, he said in English. We are Wehrmacht, not SS. We follow Geneva Convention. We do not murder prisoners. You are safe with us. How do we know that? The sergeant looked tired. You don't. You must trust. I have son. He is prisoner in America. I hope Americans treat him with honor, so I treat you with honor. That is all I can do. He walked away. Kowalski whispered, You think he's telling the truth? I don't know, but what choice do we have? We're prisoners. We have to trust someone. Around 1900 hours they let us use the latrine, just a trench outside, no privacy, no dignity, but necessary. While I was outside, I saw something that made my blood run cold. American dead in ditches, maybe 20 bodies, frozen, some with their hands still tied behind their backs, executed, or maybe they died of wounds, or cold. Hard to tell, but it looked like execution, looked like murder. I didn't say anything to Kowalski, didn't want to scare him, but I saw. And I'll remember, if we survive this, someone needs to know. Someone needs to hold them accountable. Back inside, I found a corner where I could write. Pulled out this diary. The guards don't care. Just think I'm writing letters. They don't know I'm documenting everything. Kowalski is sleeping, or trying to. He's muttering in his sleep. Sounds distressed. Nightmares probably. We all have nightmares now. I keep thinking about Rodriguez, about Davies. Wonder where they are. If they're alive. Rodriguez might be in a hospital in France. Or England. Recovering from his wounds. Writing to Maria about the baby. Davies might be in surgery, or recovering, learning to write left-handed like he promised, or they might be dead, bled out, died of infection, buried in unmarked graves. I'll never know. That's the hardest part. I'll never know if my promises meant anything. A guard just came in, announced lights out, but there aren't any lights, just darkness. So I guess it means stop talking, stop moving, sleep if you can. I'm going to try. But every time I close my eyes, I see that valley erupting, see Rodriguez bleeding, see Davies' arm gone, see Americans surrendering, see defeat. Tomorrow we keep marching, toward Germany, toward the Stalag, toward whatever comes next. Kowalski stirred. Tommy? Yeah? Thanks for not leaving me behind, back there, when we could have run, when we could have tried to save ourselves. Thanks for staying with me. We're a team. We stick together. Rodriguez would have liked that. Yeah, he would have. He went back to sleep. Or pretending to sleep. Hard to tell. I'm going to stop writing now. Try to rest. Tomorrow is another long march. But before I stop, I want to write this. We're alive. Despite everything, we're alive. And as long as we're alive, we have hope. Rodriguez believed in miracles. His mother's dreams, his prayers, his faith. Maybe he was right. Maybe there are miracles. Maybe we'll survive this, get liberated, go home, tell the story, maybe. Or maybe we'll die in a prison camp. From disease, starvation, execution. But for tonight, we're alive. We're together. We're still fighting. Not with guns, with willpower, with determination, with the simple refusal to give up. That has to count for something. That has to matter. I am the man. I suffered. I was there. Still here, Walt. Still suffering, but still alive. That's enough for now. Entry 18. December 21st, 1944. Night. Temporary holding. Things are changing. We marched all day. Another 15 miles. Maybe more. My feet are destroyed, boots worn through, blisters on top of blisters. Every step is agony, but I keep walking, because stopping means dying. We lost men today, not to execution. To exhaustion, cold, injury, they just fell down and couldn't get up. The guards left them. I don't know what happened to them. Maybe they died. Maybe Belgian civilians helped them. Maybe other German units picked them up. I don't know. Can't think about it. Around noon, we passed more American dead, in ditches, fields, frozen in place like statues, some killed in combat, some executed. Hard to tell which. This is what war leaves behind. Bodies, frozen corpses, men who had names and families and futures, all gone. Kowalski saw them too, turned away, threw up what little was in his stomach. Keep moving, I said. Don't look, just keep moving. He nodded, kept walking. What else could he do? Around 1500 hours, something changed. We heard artillery, American artillery, distant but getting closer. The guards heard it too, started talking nervously among themselves. Then we heard aircraft, American P-47s, flying overhead, strafing German positions. The guards made us take cover, got us off the road, into tree lines, waited for the planes to pass. One of the guards, young kid maybe 18, he looked scared. Amerikaner coming, he said. Big attack. Your army is counter-attacking. That's when I realized. The tide is turning. The Germans pushed as far as they could. Now the Americans are pushing back, and we're caught in the middle. Prisoners being marched through an active combat zone. Around 1700 hours we reached this place. Church, in a small Belgian town. Half destroyed, roof gone. But 4 walls still standing. They crammed us inside. Maybe 300 prisoners. Told us to wait. Didn't say for what. The guards are nervous. I can see it. They keep looking west, listening to the artillery. It's getting closer. Kowalski found me in the crowd. You hear that? Yeah. That's our guys. They're coming. Maybe. What do you mean, maybe? That's American artillery. I can tell the difference. Those are 155s. Our 155s. He's right. I can hear it too. The distinctive boom of American heavy artillery, the sound of counterattack. How long you think? Kowalski asked. Until what? Until they reach us. I don't know. Could be hours, could be wise, could be never, if the Germans move us first. But I saw something else. Something I didn't tell Kowalski. The guards are bringing up trucks, getting ready to move us. They're going to evacuate us deeper into Germany before the Americans arrive. We're going to miss liberation by hours, maybe minutes, unless something changes. Around 2000 hours, a civilian showed up. Belgian man, old, maybe 60. He was carrying bread and cheese, wanted to give it to the prisoners. The Wehrmacht commander let him, actually helped distribute it, made sure everyone got a share. The Belgian man spoke some English. Americans coming, he whispered to me. 2, maybe 3 days. Hold on. You be free soon. Thank you. He pressed something into my hand, looked at me intensely. Give this to Americans. Tell them what happened here. Tell them who helped you. I looked down. It was a piece of paper. Names and addresses. Belgian civilians who'd tried to help American prisoners, who'd risked their lives to feed us, shelter us. I'll tell them, I promised. If I survive, I'll tell them. He nodded, moved on to the next prisoner. I tucked the paper away, with my diary, with the Whitman book, evidence, testimony, truth. Around 2100 hours, we heard machine gun fire, close, maybe a mile away. The guards got agitated, started loading prisoners into trucks faster, but there aren't enough trucks. They can only move maybe 100 men at a time. The rest of us have to wait. Kowalski and I are in the waiting group, sitting in this ruined church, listening to gunfire get closer. Watching guards get more nervous. One guard, the older sergeant who told us about his son, he came over, sat down near us. You have family? He asked. Yeah, I said. Mother, father, 2 brothers. I hope you see them again. He looked tired, defeated. This war, it is madness. All of it. Madness. Then why are you fighting? He shrugged. Because I am German. because I am soldier, because I have no choice. He paused. But I am not monster. I try to do what is right, even in madness. Your son, the prisoner in America, you think he's okay? I hope. I pray, same as you hope and pray. He stood up, walked away, just another soldier doing his duty, trying to survive, trying to do right in the middle of wrong. The artillery is closer now, the machine gun fire intensifying, fighting maybe half a mile away. The guards are yelling, trying to get more prisoners loaded, but they're running out of time. Kowalski grabbed my arm. Tommy, we might get liberated, right here, right now. Don't get your hopes up. Too late. My hopes are way up. We might actually survive this. Maybe. But we're not free yet. Still prisoners. Still at the mercy of guards with guns. A guard just came in, shouted orders. They're evacuating. All prisoners. On foot. No more trucks. We're marching east. Now. Tonight. Before the Americans arrive. We're lining up. Getting ready to march. Away from liberation. Away from freedom. So close. We were so close. Kowalski looks devastated. We were almost free. We're not dead. That's all that matters. You keep saying that. Because it's true. We're moving out. East. Into darkness. Into Germany. Into whatever comes next. But I can hear American artillery. I can hear the liberation coming. Just not fast enough to save us. Rodriguez, Davies, if you're out there, we're still alive. Still trying. Still surviving. Tell America we didn't give up. We kept fighting, even as prisoners, even in defeat, we kept fighting. That has to count for something. Entry 19, December 22nd, 1944, morning. Found Kowalski. Emotional reunion, civilians helped, still prisoners, but hope is real now. Last night's march was chaos. The Germans were trying to move hundreds of prisoners through active combat, artillery falling, machine guns firing. Nobody knew where anyone was. Around midnight, there was a massive explosion. Artillery landed right in the middle of our column. Men screaming, guards yelling, everyone scattered. I lost Kowalski in the chaos. 1 second he was next to me, the next he was gone. Just gone. I called for him, couldn't find him, had to keep moving or get trampled. I spent the night lost, wandering through forest with maybe 20 other prisoners. No guards. They'd scattered too. At dawn we found a road. Followed it west, toward American lines, toward liberation. Around 0700 hours, we ran into Germans. Regular Wehrmacht. They rounded us up, back to prisoner status, so close to escape, so close. They marched us to this town, another temporary holding area, church basement, maybe 200 prisoners crammed in, and that's where I found him, Kowalski, sitting in a corner, alive. Unharmed. I couldn't help it. I just grabbed him, hugged him, started crying. Tommy, he said. Tommy, I thought you were dead. Thought you were too. We just held on to each other. Two soldiers who'd been through hell, who'd lost everything, who'd somehow found each other again. I was so scared, Kowalski said. When I lost you in the dark, I thought I was alone. I know, me too. We sat together, compared stories, how we'd gotten separated, how we'd both tried to escape, how we'd both been recaptured. At least we're together again, Kowalski said. Yeah, together. That means something. In all this chaos, that means something. Around 0900 hours, Belgian civilians came, brought food, real food, bread, cheese, even some sausage. The guards let them distribute it. An old woman came over to us, looked at our faces, at our condition. She started crying. Les pauvres garçons, she said. Poor boys. She gave us extra bread, pressed it into our hands, whispered in broken English, Americans coming, soon, very soon, you be free. How soon? Tomorrow, maybe tomorrow. She moved on, giving food, giving hope. Kowalski looked at me. Tomorrow. Don't believe it until it happens. But what if it's true? What if we really are getting liberated tomorrow? Then tomorrow we celebrate. Today we survive. Around noon we heard it again. American artillery, Closer now, much closer. The guards heard it too, started talking nervously. One of them, the young kid from yesterday, came over. He looked terrified. "You tell Americans," he said. "You tell them I was good to you. I follow Geneva. I not kill prisoners. You tell them, yes?" "Yeah, I'll tell them." He nodded, walked away. Just a scared kid in a war he probably didn't want. Hoping he'll survive. Hoping his enemy will show mercy. Around 1500 hours we heard tanks, tank engines, getting closer. Everyone stopped talking, listening, trying to figure out whose tanks they were. American, German, life or death depended on the answer. The engines got louder, closer, right outside the church. Then we heard voices, American voices. "Clear this building, friendly forces, Americans coming in." The church doors burst open. American soldiers, combat infantry, armed, ready. They saw us, hundreds of American prisoners, half-starved, beaten, but alive. "Jesus Christ," one of them said. "We found them. We found the prisoners." And just like that we were free. The Germans had fled, melted away when they heard the tanks, just left us, abandoned their prisoners to save themselves. We were free. Kowalski grabbed my arm, started laughing, crying, both at once. "We made it. Tommy, we made it. We're free." Around us, men were crying, cheering, hugging each other, thanking God. Some just sat there in shock, unable to process what had just happened. An American officer came in, captain, combat infantry. "Listen up. You men are safe now. We're securing this town. Medics are coming to check you over. Hot food is on the way. You're going to be okay. You made it. You survived." Cheers, tears, relief, joy, all at once. They took us outside, into the sunlight, December sun, cold, but it felt warm, felt like freedom. A medic checked us over. "You guys look like hell." "Feel like it too," I said. "Frostbite on your feet. Malnutrition, dehydration, but you'll live. You'll both live." He gave us water, clean water. Not from a ditch. From a canteen. American water. He gave us food, real food. From American rations. It tasted like heaven. Around 1700 hours they loaded us into trucks, taking us back to American lines, to safety, to rear areas where we can recover. As we drove west, I looked back at the town, at the church where we'd been held, at the Belgian civilians waving goodbye. They'd helped us, fed us, given us hope when we had none. I pulled out the paper the old man had given me, names and addresses, Belgian heroes who'd risked their lives for American prisoners. "I'll keep this. I'll make sure someone knows, make sure they're honored, make sure they're remembered." Kowalski is sitting next to me in the truck. He hasn't stopped smiling. "We made it," he keeps saying. "We actually made it." "Yeah, we did." "Your promises, Tommy, you kept them. You got Rodriguez out. You got me through. You kept your promises." "We all kept them. Together." He nodded. "What happens now?" Now we recover. Get checked out by doctors. Write letters home. Let our families know we're alive. Then what? I don't know. Maybe they send us back to the fight. Maybe they send us home. I don't know. I want to go home. Me too. The truck is moving through liberated territory now. Past American tanks, past artillery positions, past soldiers who are pushing east, taking back what the Germans took. The Battle of the Bulge is turning. The Germans pushed as far as they could. Now we're pushing back. And we survived it, witnessed it, lived through it. That has to mean something. Kowalski just pointed. "Look, in the distance, German prisoners being marched west, hundreds of them. Maybe thousands, roles reversed. Now they're the prisoners, now they're the defeated. That Wehrmacht sergeant, the one with the son in America. Is he among them? Did he survive? I hope so. Hope his son treats him with the honor he showed us. Hope there's mercy in this war. Even for the enemy, the truck is slowing down. We're reaching a rear area. Aid station, tents, medical personnel. They're going to check us over, feed us, give us a place to sleep, a real bed, clean clothes, safety. After 5 days of hell, we're finally safe. I'm going to stop writing now. Need to focus on recovery, on letting my family know I'm alive, on processing everything that happened. But I wanted to write this first, to document the liberation, the moment we became free, because that moment matters. That moment is everything. Rodriguez, Davies, wherever you are, we made it. We survived. We're free. Now we just need to find out if you are too. Entry 20, December 23rd, 1944 evening, aid station, safe behind American lines. We've been here for 24 hours. Doctors examined us. Frostbite on our feet, moderate. Malnutrition, severe. Dehydration, severe. Exhaustion, complete. But we'll live. That's what they told us. You'll recover, you'll live. They gave us hot food, real food, eggs, toast, coffee, pancakes. I ate until I was sick, then ate more. Couldn't help it. After days of near starvation, the food was overwhelming. They gave us new clothes, clean uniforms, boots that fit, wool socks, everything warm and dry and wonderful. They gave us beds, real beds, with mattresses, blankets, pillows. I slept for 16 hours straight. No dreams, no nightmares. Just deep, dark sleep. When I woke up, Kowalski was sitting next to my bed. He'd been watching over me, making sure I was okay. You snore, he said. Loud. So do you. Yeah, Davies used to complain about it. Davies. We hadn't talked about him yet, hadn't talked about Rodriguez, hadn't processed any of it. I asked about them, Kowalski said quietly. About Davies and Rodriguez? Asked the docs if they had any records, any casualty reports. My heart stopped. And? Rodriguez is alive, in a hospital in England. Lost his shoulder, but he's alive. He's going to make it. He's going to see Maria and his baby. Relief washed over me. Thank God, thank God. Davies is alive too. Surgical hospital in France. They saved him. Amputated below the elbow, but he's alive. He's recovering. He's going to write left-handed just like he promised. I couldn't speak, just nodded, tears running down my face. Both of them. Both alive. My promises meant something. We got Rodriguez out. We got Davies out. They're alive. We did it, Tommy. We kept them alive. Yeah, we did. Around noon, an officer came by. Major, intelligence. He wanted to debrief us. Asked about what we'd seen. German strength, movements, equipment, tactics. We told him everything. The breakthrough, the overwhelming force, the units we'd seen, the positions, the advance, everything. He took notes, asked detailed questions. When we finished, he said, "You boys did good work. The intelligence you provided has been valuable. Helped us understand the scope of the German offensive. Helped us plan our counterattack. How's the battle going, sir? We're pushing them back, slowly. The Bulge is shrinking. They pushed as far as they could, but they're running out of steam, out of fuel, out of men. Another week or two will have pushed them back to their start lines. What about the 106th Division? Our unit?" He looked uncomfortable. The 106th took heavy casualties. Almost 9,000 men. 2 regiments surrendered on the Schnee Eifel, December 19th. Largest surrender of American forces in the European theater. 9,000. 2 regiments. Gone. What happens to the division now? Rebuilding, replacements coming in. The division will fight again, but it'll take months to recover. What about us? What happens to us? You'll recover here. Then you'll be reassigned. Maybe back to the 106th. Maybe to another unit. Depends on needs. Sir, request permission to return to forward observer duty. He looked surprised. After what you've been through, you want to go back? It's what I know how to do, sir. It's what I'm trained for, and someone needs to do it. He studied me. I'll make a note in your file, but first, you recover. Get your strength back, then we'll see. He left. Kowalski looked at me. You really want to go back? After all this? What else would I do? Sit in a rear area, push papers? This is what I am now. Forward observer. It's my job. You could go home. Medical discharge, frostbite, malnutrition, PTSD. They'd let you go. Could you? Could you go home, knowing the war's still going on, knowing other guys are fighting, knowing you left? He thought about it. No, I couldn't. I'd feel like I abandoned them. Same. We sat in silence for a while. Then Kowalski said, "My sister's wedding is in July. I'm gonna be there. Come hell or high water, I'm surviving this war and I'm being her best man." "You will be. I believe that." "You promise?" I thought about promises. About Rodriguez and Davies. About how I'd promised they'd survive and they had. About how promises matter even when they seem impossible. "Yeah," I said. "I promise. You'll be at your sister's wedding. Dancing in your fancy suit. Sweating in July heat. Complaining about the humidity." He smiled. "I'm gonna hold you to that." Around 1500 hours, they let us write letters home. Real letters. On real paper, with the promise they'd actually be delivered. I sat there for an hour, staring at blank paper. How do you tell your mother you nearly died? How do you tell her you were captured? How do you tell her you're okay when you're not sure you'll ever be okay again? Finally, I just wrote the truth. "Dear Mom, I'm alive. I'm safe. I was in combat and then I was a prisoner for a few days. But American forces liberated me. I'm in a hospital now, recovering. I'm going to be fine. Rodriguez is alive. Davies is alive. Kowalski is alive. We all made it. Against the odds, we all made it. I can't tell you much about what happened. Censors won't allow it. But know that I did my duty. I fought with honor. I tried to be the man you raised me to be. I don't know when I'll come home. The war isn't over. There's still work to do. But I promise I'll do everything I can to survive. To come home to you. Give my love to Dad and James. If you hear from Michael, tell him his little brother is okay. Tell him I love him. I love you, Mom. I'll see you again. I promise. Your son, Tommy." I sealed it. Gave it to the mail clerk. Watched him add it to the pile of letters going home. Now my mother will know. In a few weeks, she'll get that letter. She'll know I'm alive. She'll cry. She'll thank God. She'll tell everyone on the block. Her son survived. Kowalski finished his letter too, to his sister, telling her he'd be at her wedding, making her a promise. "Think we'll make it?" he asked. "Think we'll really survive this war?" "Yeah, I do." "How can you be sure?" "I'm not, but I have to believe it. Have to have faith. Rodriguez taught me that. His prayers, his beliefs, his mother's dreams. Maybe there's something to it. Maybe faith matters." Around 1800 hours, they brought us dinner, roast beef, mashed potatoes, green beans, bread with butter, apple pie for dessert, real food, American food, home food. We ate slowly, savoring every bite. Kowalski got tears in his eyes over the apple pie. "My mom makes apple pie," he said. "Every Sunday